Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that
season finale.
Yeah.
2020 season finale of YSGOAT.
It's
when you
crazy.
hear it again, it'll be YSGOAT season 3. And you're like, what? There was a season 1?
Right.
There was a season 2?
Yeah.
Season 3. New powers. We talked about this last week. We said that we'd have a recurring guest that we've done some studies, and I said you need a dog with a skateboard.
Yes.
The original dog from hell.
Yep. Get some Poochie action going in here.
Yeah. Fucking dude, we're gonna get some Skillshare money next year because of that. We're gonna get like all the what was that, VPN? No, what were those things where you could like watch shit from like other countries?
Oh yeah. Geez. Like where you can watch.
We're gonna get those type of sponsors. You know,
that's gonna come in clutch.
Vape pens too, and we're gonna start selling food buckets next year. Survival food buckets, because
that's where the money is.
That's really where the money is. Dehydrated, 120% sodium, and other good stuff.
Yeah, MAGA slop
in a bucket. MAGA slop.
That's what I'm gonna call it.
It's $150 a bucket. Lasts you a half a day,
right?
Or until you die.
It's got electrolytes aplenty, just like Brondo, and
deer sperm, and rabbit rage.
Right. Now, we probably will eventually come out with a gluten-free option to the MAGA.
Right, yeah.
MAGA slop.
And for the soy boys, don't worry, because this is also 100% filled with soy.
Yes.
Not the good kind either. Like, it's really just industrial farm, like FDA doesn't even know this exists.
It is like a slurry of liquefied chickens and like beaks, sawdust.
Just chicken beaks, not even, and feet, and heads. Well, the whole head. We just throw the whole head in there, and the good stuff, the stuff you want when you get a chicken. You know, right. You're like, you go to KFC and you're like, they offer you, and you're like, what? No chicken heads? I come to KFC, I expect chicken heads. Well, don't worry, guys. We got your back.
Yes. Well, it'll be in our merch store soon enough.
Yeah.
But yeah,
$150 buckets.
This is
all the proteins you will not get.
This is our last episode of season 2. So I think our show has officially lasted more seasons than about half of Joss Whedon's TV catalog.
Right. What the fuck? Where are our Firefly people?
Right. Yeah.
Where are our Dollhouse people?
Yeah, Dollhouse was such a great show. I liked Firefly.
Yeah, it was all right. I kind of was happy that the second season was like on fast forward.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because they like didn't think they were gonna get renewed, so they kind of sped up the plot.
Yep.
And I actually didn't mind that, because it was like, oh, good. It's like 3 or 4 years of stories kind of sped up a little bit.
It really was. They like abandoned any sense of like, oh, we're going to get renewed. All the episodes of the week went out the door, and it was just like, oh, okay, this is going to be like a race to the finish line. Dollhouse was great. But
that's how Carnival was. Remember Carnival?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
One on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Like season 1 was really good. And then like season 2, it like the first half was like really slow.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the season just sped the fuck up, because I think they didn't know if they were getting canceled or not.
Right.
So they tried to finish up the story as much as possible. They left it open with a big cliffhanger, but it got canceled, which people were pissed. But I could totally tell them, like watching the show, and I was like, you could just tell they just hit like the fast forward button, because the shit was dragging the first 6 episodes, and then it was like, I don't know, the little guy from Twin Peaks was probably like, management just called and said we better hustle.
Right. Put this in double time. Yeah, well, this will be kind of an interesting. This is our last episode of season 2, the 2020 Year from Hell, and we had a few things we were going to talk about, kind of pop culturally, and then kind of merge into some news stuff. So this will be, usually we do like pop culture episodes and news episodes, but this will kind of be a mix, I suppose, a year-end recap.
Reese's Pieces and a KFC
Right.
double slam. No, what are those things
You got
called?
your beak in my head. You got
You got your beak in my pig's anus. No, what were those things called? There was like the chicken patties were the bun.
Oh yeah, a stacker, KFC stacker or something.
I think it was called like the KFC Go Fuck Yourself or something. Go fuck off and die, I think it was called.
My favorite, I think it was on Saturday Night Live. They had a fake product. It was called the Butter McCheese, and it was it was like a stick of butter with like cheese slices wrapped around it. And
I always liked their taco one, where the taco just got bigger and bigger, and it's like the taco was inside of a full-size pizza. It just gets more disgusting.
I'll tell you though, and this is slightly off topic. There's a pizza place not too far from where we live that I haven't been to yet, but I'm dying to go to. I saw a photograph of a pizza they make where it's a large cheese pizza, but then they put cheese ravioli on top of the pizza and melt cheese on top of it. So it's like
super redundant.
Oh no, it's like
when I was in Long Island, there was a pizza place I used to go to all the time, and they had a literal like a pizza like that where they put like bow tie pasta, like big bow tie rigatoni or something, Alfredo on top of the pizza. I mean, it's awesome, but it's just like there's no like why you eat it's such a weird thing to eat. Like it's like super redundant. Like
so often I've gone to a pizza place and I've been like, oh, I'm gonna get a pizza, but I wonder what their pasta dishes are like. Wonder no more, right? Like you're gonna dump that shit on the pizza. My problem
with that is I think I know you're making a joke, but you're not getting the best version of their pasta when it's like
okay, that is true. Yeah, like, that is true. I'm still gonna try this.
But I like the pizza place I used to go there, like they would make like a taco slice, which was like delicious. You know, it's like certain things like that make sense. Like chicken on a pizza. Okay, that's you're breaking, you know, you're putting things on there. But when you do like pasta on a pizza, it's a little silly. I mean, at that point, you might as well just put a pizza on a pizza.
Did you ever go to that place in I think it's in Manhattan, or it could be Brooklyn, but I think it's Manhattan, where like they're famous. They make a regular slice of pizza and they heat it up, and then they dump cold mozzarella on top of it, and you eat it.
Cold mozzarella?
Yeah, it's called a cold cheese slice. So it's like a regular slice of pizza heated up in the oven and everything, like reheated, and then you are right about to eat it, but they dump a bunch of shredded
on your face.
cold shredded mozzarella on the slice, and you eat it with the cold and the hot at the same time. It's like, I guess it's like a McDLT, but
in that it's in like the massive styrofoam container.
Well, in that it's like a cold and hot like together.
I like the idea of like you're eating pizza and then one of the workers just comes up to you and dumps a cup of mozzarella on your head, and you're just like, "What are you doing?" And you're like, "This is what we do. This is our thing."
I would also take that.
I'd be fine with that. You know, if you're like annoyed that you're picking out cheese out of your hair all day, but every time you do that, you have a delicious little snack.
Right. Yeah.
You know? It's like you're rewarded. I mean, you might have some birds or homeless people that will jump on your head as well, you know, but
well, if you enjoy their cold cheese approach, then I'm sure you would love how they serve up their twisted tea, which is did you see that today on on Twitter?
No.
Oh, I guess there's a kind of a virally video on Twitter. Someone in a convenience store, I guess a guy behind him was in line with a twisted tea. It's a large can of like, you know, Zima or something basically. And the guy ahead of him used like a racial slur or something.
Oh, no.
And the guy behind him just beamed him upside the head with a can of twisted tea, like really, really comically hard.
Oh, I think I've seen that video.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
a day or two ago. Yeah, it was like in a 7-Eleven or something.
Yep, yeah. It was from a couple days ago. It was only today though that I saw the full video.
And they said they called it Twisted Tea.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the name of the actual product. Is that anyone can purchase Twisted Tea, but yeah.
Yeah, smash a racist in the head with it.
Yeah,
drink it.
Right. That's like a good advertising campaign.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it'd go real well.
Anyway, so we were going to talk. We had originally thought maybe we might do an episode on Wonder Woman, but then we both saw it and we decided we'd just sort of cover it here in brief. What'd you think of Wonder Woman?
Well, I'll tell you why I didn't want to talk about Wonder Woman. Because I don't want to talk about movies that I don't know, and that was the thing with the podcast when we first started. Was like, I'm not a movie review site. We're not good. We're not entitled to watch. We don't have to watch movies we don't want to watch. Like, we're not getting paid. Nobody's movie phone isn't sponsoring us. They're big, right? They're still big movie phone.
I think so. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Like, they pretty much they make or break movies.
Yes.
Phone's on your back, you're fucked.
Right.
I don't know. But I'm not gonna watch something just because it came out. Like, I mean, Wonder Woman is a movie that I like. Like, the first one I thought was good. I don't think it's like the best movie ever. It's good, especially with it was a good palate cleanser for like the movies that came out before, which were like Batman versus Superman for DC movies. Batman versus Superman, Man of Steel. Like, it was like. And Justice League coming out, I was like, oh god, I hope this movie's good at least. So when I see Justice League, I won't be like, all right, this whole thing's a train wreck.
Right.
And Wonder Woman ended up being like a decent movie. It was better. It was above expectations. And having such low expectations probably worked in its favor. But it really was a decent, good movie. I mean, there's some, the villain was kind of cheesy in the end, but
I thought it was fine. The thing I liked most about Wonder Woman was that I really enjoyed it on its own, and both my wife and my kid liked it. And there's like zero superhero movies where we all sit and enjoy it. So
I just think they wrote themselves in a little bit of a they kind of like trapped themselves because like Wonder Woman's story and the comics start in that time period, and also with the TV show, it took place during World War II.
Right.
But because Captain America came out, and in 2011, it was the first Avenger. It was Captain America, like the first Avengers, I think.
Yeah.
And that took place during World War II. I guess Warner Brothers didn't want to look like they were ripping off Marvel. So they decided, let's just put her in World War I, a war that most people have no clue about.
Right.
Because World War II came along and was always considered more profitable when it came to movies. But
better villains.
The Germans are not the same kind of Germans they are in World War II. They're trying to almost depict them like they were Nazis in the first Wonder Woman movie. But it's like, no, they're not Nazis. It's like a totally different. It was like almost like a different country before
different
that.
Thing,
I mean, we're talking like over 20 years apart. It's like a generation difference,
which was huge back then. I mean, that it's 20 years is a long time anyway. But like back then, that was like things didn't move as quickly as they do now.
I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to get into it. It was fine. It was decent. And then my whole rule about it is like, I'll talk about the movie if I like really, really like it. And I'll lie. We have talked about movies that when we were doing mostly movies only. But now I'm like, it's either got to be like awesome or absolutely horrible to the point where like comically bad, like that I will laugh the whole time we talk about it.
Right.
I don't think Wonder Woman 84. There's people I've seen. They are savaging it. They're saying it's the worst movie ever. I don't think it's the worst movie ever. I don't hate the movie. It's. I go into my issues with it. There's lots of them, but I don't hate it. But I don't like it enough to like do a full episode on.
Right.
And I don't hate it enough to do a full episode either.
Yeah.
So we can talk about it for like a bit. What do you think of Wonder Woman 1984?
I was underwhelmed, but I liked it just fine. And my gut reaction is if they just released it back when they were going to release it and I had gone and seen it, I probably would have enjoyed it a whole bunch. But the fact that it got pushed back, and it was kind of like,
and it was before COVID that it got pushed back.
Yes,
it was supposed to come out like last winter or
yeah,
like last summer.
They pushed it back for like scheduling reasons at first,
Yeah.
and then so anyway, by the time Wonder Woman came out, and then it was like it's Christmas Day and it's on HBO and you get to see it, and it was just kind of like set up to be this huge event, and it turned out to be just a fine movie. And that's where I came in on it. Like, if I were going to give it out of 4 stars, maybe like 2.5, which is a solid film. That's not like a waste of anyone's time. I mean, I wouldn't have felt ripped off or, had this just come out when it was supposed to come out. I loved Pedro Pascal. I thought he was hilarious.
Yeah, he's
really
fine
good.
in it. He's not. I mean, the character. The problem with the movies are, and I kind of tweeted about this. I said the problem with DC movies and like Marvel movies is that, like, except for like Shazam,
Right?
And I would say even Aquaman. And I'm trying to think, like, Aquaman and Shazam, I think, came pretty close to like respecting the source material enough to like where it makes sense. Like, I don't think the people made Wonder Woman 84 no clue who Maxwell Lord is.
Yeah,
made it. They were just like, we need a villain, and they're like, all right, well, let's use Maxwell Lord. And they're like, okay. He's like I don't know, multi-level marketing scheme guy. It's like, okay, it's not really who he is, but sure. And then the other one's like, oh, what? Wonder Woman. The problem with her is like she only has like a couple of villains, and that's not true. She actually has like a decent amount of villains. She has like this giant lady, Cheetah. She has this guy named like Mastermind or something. He's
yeah.
It's actually in the Harley Quinn cartoon. It's pretty funny in that one, the one that's on HBO Max.
Right.
And then she has like all the fucking Greek gods to work with. Fuck, you got like so many. I don't know why they didn't like do something with the Greek gods again. And I don't think it would be a big deal if like I don't think it's a repeat. Like, oh, we did Hades already. I'm like, who cares? I can use another one.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know, like the Cheetah character, they just like went with the lame fucking Catwoman story from Batman Returns, which also was not Selena Kyle at all.
Yeah.
Like they just, I mean, that was the best part about Batman Returns. I mean, it's like almost like if that movie came out today, I'd be like, what the fuck? But because the movie came out when I was like, how old was I? 15.
Right. It was a while ago.
Yeah. It was like 91. I'd be like, I don't know. I knew, I'm like, that's not really the Penguin, and that's not really Catwoman. That's like Tim Burton's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna make Penguin into like a fish man, and Catwoman's gonna be Donald Trump's dowdy secretary that gets pushed out, that Trump pushes out of a window. Max Schreck was Trump.
Yeah.
It was pretty fucking obvious. Anyone who had a brainstem knew that Max Schreck was basically Trump.
Yeah.
He even had crazy hair. And it wasn't those characters at all. I mean, visually they look cool, but it wasn't anything from the comic. And I know people, I think the problem with DC movies, Warner Brothers, they've owned the studio. The studio owned the properties since like the 70s, I think. I think they bought DC Comics back in the 70s. And you'd think they would do something with the fucking properties and do them correctly. But they've always like treated everything, like everyone that like either is an executive at these places or anything don't respect the characters.
Yeah.
They still to this day view them as fucking cheesy, those shitty cartoons, the Super Friends with the stupid little with the girl and the fake Shaggy and the dog, or the one with the Super Twins.
Yeah.
And that's most people view it. They don't know. And it's like DC Comics actually has some of the best stories in the past 40 years that like beat out even Marvel, like that are like way more mature. Not like in a Zack Schneider cheese, like where
Right.
I'm angry, that makes it mature. No, that doesn't make it mature. It's not good.
Yeah. Yep. Like emotionally nuanced.
Yeah, like
stuff,
actually really well written stories. And there's lots and lots of source material, and they don't ever use it. They don't fucking use it. Shazam was like probably one of the few ones where they kind of respected the source material. They made some changes, but like it was there.
Right.
And then, I mean, I'm shocked. At the end of the day, I bet you if that movie came out 20 years ago, they would have like, or 15 years ago, they would have made. They wouldn't have Shazam be a kid or something dumb.
Right.
They would have made him like 20 or something. They wouldn't have made him like a little kid that turns into him.
Yeah.
Like would, and then Aquaman, like I said, like, and then Zack Schneider stuff is just fucking horrible. I'm so sick of like the online people. Like, I cannot wait to see the Schneider cut because I want to like just. Well, I mean, listen. I hope it's good. I honestly hope it's good. I really do.
It'll be interesting. I think.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing it. I'm curious what I'm getting. It's like, it's just really funny, and the fact that they sunk like 80 more million into this thing, and it's,
they're
like,
not going to recoup that
does
money.
Zack Schneider have like photos of like these executives or something? Like
I've never understood that.
Evidence? Does he have like a lawsuit like that? I don't know. Did they do something wrong to him that like?
He must have something because he is like revered by a decent amount of people, like people that like genre stuff. I remember first hearing about him. I think it was probably his first movie when he did that remake of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, but James Gunn wrote it, and it was okay. I liked it. I don't hate Zack Schneider point. I just don't understand the fanaticism behind him. Like,
all you have to do is watch Sucker Punch once, and you'll start to question why people think he's such a genius.
Sucker Punch is absolutely horrible.
Terrible.
Sucker Punch was like, I have like some personal beef with that because I was working for a company, a licensing company, and I like vouched for it because it was an awesome trailer that Comic-Con that year, the year before the movie came out. And then we found out we could get the license, and I was like, oh yeah, the artwork was sick. And like, I even know like Alex Party did like a lot of the artwork, the initial artwork that we couldn't use for any of the stuff.
The cast was supposedly great.
Yeah, like John Hamm, who was like just in his prime with fucking Mad Men. And I mean, everybody was in it. Like the fucking everything looked amazing. And it was just absolutely, I remember like the worst was I was able to convince my boss to like, yeah, we should like, you know, make it a movie night for the company and we'll go see it in the theater.
Oh, geez.
And I just remember sitting in the theater watching it.
Slinking down for
and this being like, I was never here. Like, seriously, I was
like Homer going into the bushes.
Like, I guess I'll go get another job now. I don't know. He let me. I guess I was able to. Thankfully, we got like something better came along immediately after that. That like made sure that he got
the lucrative
how much money he wasted on Sucker Punch. Like, I mean, we sold some stuff in Hot Topic. I mean, you just saw that trailer, like, and you would think like we were like, oh my god, this movie looks awesome. It was just it hit every note from a visual standpoint. You're gonna see women in cosplay in like forever at conventions. They're all gonna be dressed up as baby doll. They're all gonna be like, it just met every goal. And this isn't like, and I know some assholes say like, oh, well, you clearly don't do anything. You like, I'm like, fuck off. This looked on paper, this looked amazing. Everyone thought that first trailer. No one said a bad thing about it. That first trailer was sick as fuck. And then the movie came out and it was awful.
Horrible.
I never watched it again. I never want to see it again. I just like
it's cringy.
It made no sense. It made none of it made sense, and it's supposed to be this feminist movie, and it does like a total disservice to women everywhere. It's like the most
after watching that, you're like, well, maybe the patriarchy is not a bad idea. You know, I mean, if this is feminism.
It's possibly the worst movie ever made. It's probably one of the worst. Like, it is so bad. And then I will gladly do an episode on Man of Steel.
Yeah.
In the future. I'll gladly do. I don't know if I would do on Batman vs Superman. I think it would be redundant to do it. We could just mush that into the Man of Steel. smush it in. And then just honestly, the funny thing is, everyone always trashes the Justice League in the theater. I didn't hate it.
I thought it was fine.
I thought it was fine. I knew it was like nothing. It was like, but it wasn't terrible. The villain sucked. The villain was terrible.
The CGI was a little rough around the edges.
Yeah,
but
it's a little dodgy, but like overall, like the interaction between the heroes and everything,
I liked it fine. A lot. I thought it was good
moments. I don't know why people shit on so much. It's like, I mean, again, a lot of the Schneider nuts, they hate it because he like got fired halfway through it. I don't know. There was some personal shit. I think his kid like committed suicide.
I think so.
It gets really dodgy, and like, Batman versus, they were already making it when Batman vs Superman came out, and Batman vs Superman was a disaster. Like, even though it made decent money, it was just.
It was a little muddled. Yeah. It
was terrible. It was a bad movie. You know what the best part of Batman vs Superman was?
Huh. Wonder Woman. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Every minute she was in the movie, even with the music, when they show up in the end to fight Doomsday, and they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
I did it wrong, but it doesn't matter.
She was great, yeah. And that built up a lot of hype for the original Wonder Woman.
Like when Bruce Wayne's looking and he sees the old photo of her from World War I.
Oh,
and then all of a sudden you hear in the background. I don't think that's how the music went, but
I don't think
close enough.
But it was. It was. Wonder Woman was great in that film. I thought she was really good in Justice League. The first Wonder Woman was fine. This one,
the first 10 minutes of this movie is the best of the movie. Like, it is literally the best 10 minutes. Why did they not stick to that? Okay, here's my problem. I'll go over it real quick.
Yeah.
Why did you call it Wonder Woman 1984 when there was barely any 80s music in the movie? I swear there was hardly any. There was like one standout like song.
There was like a couple times where like the music would start and I would be like, oh, what song is this going to be? And then it was like, oh, it's stock music from like.
Yeah, but like there's like one actual 80s song in it.
Yeah. Well, Blue Monday was the one that was in the trailer. And that was like, was that in the movie itself?
I don't know. I just know there was like one actual like 80-ish sounding song where you actually heard words, and then it's like, okay, why do you have it? So why is it Wonder Woman 84? And it doesn't even make any sense tonally. It doesn't really show, like, they show some pictures of her, like where you see like the woman that helps her in World War I, and you see that woman as an old lady. With Wonder Woman, she doesn't age. You see like all her friends from the years past from the first movie. Obviously, they're all dead or super old at this point. That they're even alive. I mean, it's 84. It's still possible, but more than likely, a lot of them are dead. And you don't like really talk about how she's like this immortal. How is she hiding out? How is she existing in this world as an immortal, as a Diana Prince, and not get like noticed at all?
And what is she doing? Like, what is her?
She's working in a museum of some sort, which is what she does in the first Wonder Woman movie.
I get that. I'm just saying, like, why is Batman? That you get that. And why is Superman? And not just like a reporter at the Daily Planet. You get that. But like with Wonder Woman in Wonder Woman 84, I didn't get the sense of like, well, why is she? Like, why
is she dealing with antiquities? Like, I mean, here's like a dumb plot point you could have done. I don't know. Like, the whole plot of the movie is like a rock comes out and the guy gets it and steals it and basically becomes the Rock, right? And then you could do like a plot where Wonder Woman then realizes, this is what I will do. I will become an antiquities person so I can keep my eye on any type of strange artifacts that come from either Themyscira or like something has a curse or a genie or something in it and it's like, and that's the origin of how Wonder Woman became a museum person.
Well, in the
which is
comics,
really exciting, but it could have been something that why did it's almost like they're like, well, the audience already knows that Wonder Woman works for a museum.
right?
We saw it in the first Wonder Woman movie when it took place in the
Yeah,
and in Batman Superman, and we know that, but it's like, but this is Wonder Woman 84. This is almost 40 years earlier. It's
yeah.
stupid. It doesn't make any. I mean, I know this is like, I don't know. I didn't even think about that till now. I'm like, why is she working in a museum? Like, it doesn't make
Yeah,
any.
I mean, I guess what else is she gonna do? But it's like, it is weird. I mean, like,
But she's like, why take place in 84? I mean, when I first, it all made sense, but they don't really exploit it. They got a guy who kind of looks like Reagan, kind of.
yeah.
Not Ronald Reagan. They don't have the balls to say it's Reagan. So, what the fuck? If you're gonna do Wonder Woman 84, make sure you're using fucking Reagan. Make him like, I don't know, do like the worst CGI you could possibly do just to piss everyone off too. Like, I want it to look bad. Like, take it from the the new Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
Just use that. Reagan is like in it. Like, he has you like kill people. Like, supposedly Reagan's in the new
right.
the most recent Call of Duty. Yeah, just use that same Reagan. Like, make him like a super like bad video game CGI. And then like the whole Steve Trevor thing makes no sense.
That seemed like,
okay, so the whole plot of the movie is that they find this like rock.
yeah.
Did it have a name?
I think it was the Dreamstone.
Okay, well, like, why not like have it connected to a god,
right?
Or the Greek gods or something? I mean, like, that's Wonder Woman. I don't know. Why don't you just have it connected to that? It probably would, like, and then she like has to either go back to Themyscira, or I don't know if I'm saying it right, or she has to like, she has another flashback. I know they show the one in the beginning with her as a little girl, where she learns a lesson like little kids shouldn't outshine adults, because like that was the lesson, right?
God, I don't
Little
remember
kids
that
shouldn't
part.
outshine adults. No, it's because she cheated, I guess. And the Dreamstone was like, you're cheating. So
right. You didn't earn it.
Right. Even though she, as a child, she still kind of earned it because she was clever enough to outsmart her opponents.
Yeah, that's how Kirk passed Starfleet.
Right. Who had it? Chris Pine is in the
exactly. Yeah, that's a
so okay. So the Dreamstone, you basically get to be whatever you want. Selena Kyle, Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, she wants to be strong like Wonder Woman.
And her best target lady, right? She's a target lady.
Yeah, right.
Live. What's so funny about Kristen Wiig to this day? There was a show me and my wife watched. I'm like, oh, fuck, I think it was like Spike TV years ago. It was called like Joe Schmo.
I remember that.
It was a fake reality show where everyone was an actor except the guy they put on the show supposedly had no idea that he thinks he's in an actual reality competition.
Yeah, but everyone else is
just an actor, and they're all playing a part. And they had two different kinds of women on the show. They had like the really like kind of Playboy pinup type girl, and then they had like the girl next door,
right,
who was played by Kristen Wiig.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And I remember it was it's so funny thinking like this, like something, you watch these things, you're like, you're never gonna see these people in anything anymore.
Right.
And then like shortly within less than a year, she was like on Saturday Night Live, and I was like, she looks familiar.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And then she just, blew up from there. But it's just so funny that she comes from like this stupid Joe Schmo, which was actually surprisingly really funny.
Yeah.
They had like the puck on the show, and it was like, this was really funny. Like, and then the Kristen Wiig character has sex with the puck character. Like, and the Joe Schmo guy's all like sad. He's like, what? Because she's supposed to be like the innocent one.
Yeah, the good one. I thought Wonder Woman 84 was fine. I know they're making a third one now, right? I've seen that on Twitter.
Whatever. I can care less.
Yeah, I'll see it. I mean, I liked this one enough to see the next one.
It's okay. So so this will be real quick.
Yeah.
The movie. Okay, so everyone like gets their wish, and I like how the one guy's like the Maxwell Lord character, Din Djarin.
Yeah, right.
That was his name. It was weird that he went by that name too.
It was a strange one.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. He was like, hey, they were like, hey, Mando.
Right.
He's like, well, I'll just become the Rock or something.
Yeah.
Like that would be easier.
His motivations made little sense, and how he kind of like saw the light at the end of the film made little sense. I think and a lot of it's just because I like the Mandalorian, and I've started to see him in a few places.
He's good in things. He was great in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That season finale when he gets his head fucking crushed like a tomato.
He was really good in that Prospector show I watched, a science fiction movie, kind of a low budget science fiction movie.
Yeah.
He was in. He was great in that.
He was in the what's that show? A movie. It's like he was in the second one. It's the one where the people work in England. It's based on a comic. They're like super spies.
Oh, not the Avengers, the Kingsman.
Yeah,
was it the Kingsman? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I never saw those, but I heard they were fine.
Yeah, he's good in everything. He's good in this too.
Yeah.
Like everyone is like decent in the movie. There's no one like really bad. It's like just some cheesy. This is some really shitty, cheesy stories, and it's weird because like everybody's like was complimenting the first one, and like everyone did an amazing job, and it was like, and then the second one comes along, and it's just like. You sure you guys use the same people?
Right. Well,
and then like, okay, so she, I guess, wishes for Steve Trevor to come back.
Yeah.
But why couldn't Steve Trevor just come back as Steve Trevor?
Yeah.
Why did he have to quantum leap into some dude who supposedly stars in a lot of Hallmark movies? That's actually true. I found it out. Like the guy that he does. Like he's like some Hallmark movie guy or something. And the fact that it ends in the end with like Christmas time and
that's funny. I think that the first movie, after they made it and everything, like as time went on, people kept referencing Chris Pine as like a great romantic lead for this character and everything, and they kind of got trapped into like bringing him back, but it made no sense to bring him back.
They didn't have to bring him back. I don't know. Like, or if you bring him back, why? It makes no sense of the way they brought him back.
Right, the way they did it. Yeah,
she would bring him back. Like if somebody who just makes a joke and goes like in the scene when he goes like the Ab country and the guy's like, I think it was like Egypt or something, and the guy's kind of just joking. He's like, yeah, let's see a wall come up, and then the wall comes up. So why does the rules for her are so weird where it's like Steve Trevor quantum leaps into
it should just be no weirdness about it. I don't want him coming back as a ham sandwich. I want him.
He literally just comes back as himself, and that would be fine. It would actually be even better because then they could focus like a minute or two less on something else, or just shave a minute or two off the movie.
Yeah,
you don't have to explain. No, it's me. And it's like weird. It's like, okay, does everyone see the guy or do they see Chris Pine?
Yeah, they would see the guy.
Chris Pine is like a good foot shorter than this guy. Like this guy was much taller than him, so it's really weird. I mean, and I know this is again nitpicking, but I don't think it's. I think it's like it's fair to nitpick this.
Well, this is like this is the structure of the story itself. The story should withstand some poking, like.
And then like, I love the ending though. It's almost like Maxwell Lord. He like somehow is able to like come back to DC flying from where did they go? The Antenna Island, like where
it was like
giant Antenna
like
Island. Yeah. Right? Is that where they went?
It was something like that. God, what was it? Yeah, they went to Antenna Island.
I think it's it's my favorite. I go there every year. We summer there.
Sure.
We look at the antenna. and I'm like, that's good antenna. And then we leave. So he gets back in the helicopter. He finds his son. And he kind of does like a Homer in the bushes type thing.
Right.
Because supposedly, I guess he faces no consequences for his actions. He's rewarded for realizing he could be a good dad.
Yeah.
And that's great. I mean, most villains usually get thrown off buildings.
Right.
They get
Into
killed.
volcanoes.
They pay for their crime in some silly way, or
Right.
sometimes they get locked up. This guy he was able to be like,
Rehabbed.
I've been a shitbag dad the entire movie, but I've learned my lesson.
He was, yeah. I mean,
I'm ready to raise you, son.
Right.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah, that was yeah.
But like the whole movie, again, why was it cool? Like, why did it have to be in 1984 if you're not going to take advantage? Really take advantage. I mean, like, yeah, Barbara had some bad hair and clothes throughout it. It's like, there's all that. Like, it's in a mall in the beginning because that's how you know it's in the 80s. It's a mall.
Right.
I swear they used the same goddamn mall that's in like Stranger Things, and there was all other properties where they show like that takes place in the 80s.
Well, it's funny, they showed an exterior shot of the Commander Salamander store, and I went to that store in the 80s. It was like a famous kind of like punk subculture store in Georgetown outside of DC, and I guess it closed like 10 years ago or whatever, but they recreated it, and there was like big news in the Washington Post. They were talking about the recreation of the Commander Salamander store. It's in like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
But the first 10-15 minutes of the movie really takes advantage of it being 1984, and then
nothing.
I don't know, like, why? And then here's the best part: Wonder Woman's not in the movie. It's called Wonder Woman 84 because 84 minutes of the movie, Wonder Woman's not in it. She's in it.
It was a curiously absent Wonder Woman,
It's like, why do there's so many of these movies, the superhero movies that use the same, it's always in the sequels, always Spider-Man 2, even Ant-Man 2, where like the main Ant-Man 2, like his suit was on the fritz. Remember, he got like little.
Yep.
It was kind of funny. He was like tall or something. It's very funny, but again, it's the same thing. It's always like the hero loses their powers, or the powers are not working. They have to find out how to get their powers working again. He always uses this in the second movie.
That is true.
And it's so like, can you not come up with something else? And I don't want to hear this bullshit. Someone who like hates superhero movies will come in and be like, yeah, that's right, I think movies all suck. And it's like, fuck you, Bill Maher. Well, I'm like, no, we could come up with other ideas. You don't need to come up with the same, like, oh no, the cum that comes out of my hands my spider cum isn't working. Right? It was cum, right?
Yes. Right.
I always thought that was so weird. It was like this man, the Spider-Man, who he turns into the first Raimi Spider-Man. I mean, it was like, I kind of knew they were going to be like, okay, we're just going to lose the
bracelet thing.
I just don't want to spend 5 minutes or even 30 seconds explaining how this kid can do that. And it's like, it's fine. So you can do this whole thing where it's like, virginal Peter Parker gets bitten by a spider and then slowly turns into a man, and he oozes jizz out of
that was weird.
His wrist.
Yeah,
spraying everyone with his wrist jizz.
Well, in the
second movie, his wrist jizz isn't working because he can't get it up, which is literally the plot of the movie.
That is weird.
Yeah, it is weird that they went with the wrist jizz. I thought that was strange.
Well, like the problem with the Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man
from the 70s,
was that his spider webbing bracelets were on the outside of his outfit.
Sometimes they were drawn like that.
Yeah, I do remember that. Now that you're saying that, I don't ever remember buying books where that was the case, but I remember seeing that like in collections.
Yeah, if the artist felt like drawing that or not.
Fuck, why just put them under the glove?
Like sometimes Spider-Man would have like that webbing under his armpit,
right?
And then all of a sudden one day he didn't have his like.
He like shaved.
Then, like Todd McFarlane decided to like bring it back, and it was like, oh, okay, cool, these are back. Is he like drawing them? It was just like, oh, it really just comes down to who's drawing the book. There's really not a lot of thought put into it. I mean, there's thought put into it, but it's not that big of a deal. It's just like, I just don't want to draw these fucking armpit webs. So Wonder Woman's losing her powers, and then she gets it back because this is what wrap this up as we're talking about. Wonder Woman 84 is the perfect movie. And I tweeted about this. It's the perfect movie because every political form can hate this movie in many ways. I saw people say that this movie's incredibly racist, and they're not wrong. There's a lot of racist shit in it. I guess it was called Wonder Woman 84 because they used some real racist shit in it, which was used in a lot of 80s movies. I like when they were showing people wishing, and they have like the one like the terrorist guy, the Muslim terrorist guy, and he's like, I wish I had nuclear missiles. Like, really? Is that what you'd be wishing for? Wouldn't you be wishing for like, I don't want to do this anymore? Like, you know,
right?
Like,
yeah, like yeah, exactly. I wish
somebody made a joke and said that. Are you telling me no one would wish? I mean, there was like the one guy who wished that woman would die, and I like that was like the funniest scene in the movie. She's like, ah, like don't make this. Is that wrong that I laughed during that part? I don't know. Maybe I'm fine. Okay, but like someone didn't wish. Someone didn't wish. Like I hate everyone. I wish the world would explode. Like,
yeah.
Like you're telling me no one. Like of course someone would say that. They may not mean it 100%.
Yeah.
It's so. Like I said, I didn't hate it. It's just so goofy, and it's so awesome because there's just something there for everyone to hate. All the neckbeards hate it, of course, because it's women based, so automatically it's SJW. But then you see people like it like there's minority groups and all these different people are like, this movie's fucking racist. And then the best was like, oh, of course Wonder Woman's losing her powers because she's giving it up for a man. I'm like,
well, you're right. I mean, like there was
parody of itself. What?
I think that's the problem is that like when you try to please everyone, you wind up pleasing very few people. And I think that might kind of be the thing about the movie is it really had a broad resistance to it. Like a lot of people found something not to like.
Better writing would be like, okay, it wasn't just that like, oh, she needs Steve Trevor because she needs a man. It could have just been like, okay, in the beginning of the movie, they show images of her past.
Yeah.
People that she knew, and they're all like dead. And one of the people she lost first was that night, Steve Trevor, who she loved. And it could be like, you know, she thinks about him and then he pops back in. And it's not because she needs a man or anything. It's also she needs like, she's missing something.
Yeah.
She's lonely. She's out of time. She's not like,
and that would have worked really well. That would have worked really well because and
then he's like kind of like a linchpin to the past, but like also of someone that like introduced her to the world.
Yep.
And you know, there's ways to do it and not make it come off like this ridiculous like.
Well, and it would have been a good lesson because like the lesson would have been like you got to let that shit go.
You gotta let the past go. You gotta move on, and then that's where she learns to become an antiquities dealer.
Right. Well, that would then you could have the last scene of this film be in present day United States, and you know, launching the third movie. You know, like some new thing.
Right. Yeah, and that's where, and then you see her. That's when she becomes the antiquities dealer. It's like and she could say something in the like, and I'm gonna do her Israeli accent.
Okay.
It's super offensive.
Oh shit.
No, I'm not gonna do any of that.
Okay, yeah.
She could say like in like a narration and she goes, you know, someone told me, it'll be like Steve Trevor, you gotta let go of your past. So I found out the best way to let go of my past was to work with the past.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
and then she becomes an antiquities person, and that's the Wonder Woman 84 was the origin. Well, even though not that important, not a big deal. But enough to like how she was able to get.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't even make any sense anyway because she doesn't fucking age. So she's supposed to be like secret. Like, she's not supposed to like exist really to the world. The movie is like weird because it's like, okay, are we still paying attention to the current continuity of these movies? Like, is this part of the Justice League continuity, or are we just saying fuck it?
Right.
Where Wonder Woman was a success, everyone liked it. So we're just kind of like do our own thing here. Like Wonder Woman will interact with other heroes in other movies, but we're not going to lock ourselves in.
Well, that's another advantage to the film being in 1984 is because you didn't have to worry about like, well, why don't you call Batman? Why don't you call, you know, like why don't
Aquaman? They did that with Aquaman. He never called shit.
That's true. Yeah.
I guess he figured that one none of them could swim.
Right.
A lot of that stuff was on the water.
Super bad reception on the fish phone.
Yeah. Oh, I lost my Justice League cell phone. Oh shit. That's how you write that. See,
terrible reception down here.
Hollywood writers, get us. We'll doctor your scripts, pay us the money, we'll make your movie better. We have to see the movie first though, so we can tell you what's better. We can't actually make the movie. We can dissect the movie after, and then make suggestions that will be kind of pointless.
Well, speaking of better movies, you said that you also saw Soul, Pixar's Soul.
Yes, it was good. I liked it. I'm not going to go into it because you didn't see it.
Yeah,
I too much.
Think I will see it.
You should. I mean, yeah, Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I think adults like this movie more than kids.
I'll bet. I think that's true of a lot of Pixar
honestly,
movies.
I would almost watch this without your kid.
It looks good. It looks
I would just watch
sad.
it. If she has no interest in it, just watch it. It's really good, and I could see how it doesn't appeal to kids at all. Wait, this almost middle-aged man who's going through life changing, and he wants to he's being forced as a teacher, and he wants to be in a jazz band, and he ends up dying. I don't know why kids aren't running to this. This seems just. Well, I
read the description, and I was like, this is probably gonna be sad. And then I was flipping around, and I saw my Octopus Teacher on Netflix. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch that. And I read the description of that, and I was like, this sounds even sadder.
What's Octopus Teacher?
It's called My Octopus Teacher. It's about a guy. It's a documentary. It got a lot of traction on Netflix a while ago, and it's a marine biologist that's kind of disenchanted with life, and he monitors an octopus for a year.
Oh, I heard about this.
And he learned a lot of lessons. Primary of which is that nature is fucking heartless. And also don't let octopuses massage you. Right. But then so I was like, that's gonna be sad too. So then I watched The Dead Don't Die, that Jim Jarmusch movie with Adam Driver and Bill Murray.
Oh yeah, that one was stupid.
It was stupid.
The ending was so dumb. There's a part in the movie where they all of a sudden just decide that they're actually in a movie.
Well, they decide that's in the first 5 minutes.
Oh really?
They're driving in the car in
maybe they weren't paying attention because an hour and 20 minutes into it, all of a sudden one of them's like, oh, you didn't get the script?
No, the first 5 minutes of the movie, they're driving in the car. And the song "The Dead Don't Die" comes on, and Bill Murray's like, "This song's really familiar." And Adam Driver's like, "Well, of course it is. It's the theme song." And then Bill Murray's like, "Oh yeah," and then they keep driving.
Okay, but that could be a joke laughed off. I mean, they literally later on in the movie,
yes, right,
break the fourth wall and just I'm actually Bill Murray and Adam Driver, and you got the full script. I only got and you can almost write it off as kind of fine. I guess they're giving you a little hint in the beginning, but that's not they're just telling you. I mean, it could be just somebody goofy.
Yeah, I guess so.
But this was but then they don't really But then it kind of goes back to the movie, they aren't actually a movie. It was. I don't know. There was some interesting. I do like how the zombies were in the movie. I think they found a unique way of doing it. I do like how they didn't have to put any makeup on Iggy Pop. They just let Iggy Pop show up on set.
He just showed up.
He just showed up. Perfect. They didn't give him any
How long
lines.
were you in makeup? What?
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't give him any lines. And I don't think they actually even hired him to be in the movie. I think he just wandered on set. So that's cool.
I heard the movie was terrible, and I watched it anyway. And I
heard it was terrible, and I watched it anyway.
Yeah, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy the performances, and I liked it a whole lot in that regard. It was almost the opposite experience of Wonder Woman 84, where I was very looking forward to it and very underwhelmed.
I'll be honest, I had no expectations for Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, I thought it would be really good.
I just thought it would take place in the 80s, and that they really would play it up. I mean,
the joke's
why not
on you.
With Stranger Things being so popular and all these like 80s type things, that it was almost like perfect. It's like, yeah, fuck, Wonder Woman 84,
right?
Perfect. Oh, did we forget to play up the 80s part that much? Like, I mean, there's so much more they could have done. They just didn't.
So much of it could have been.
It was all there in the first 10 minutes. Like when the little girl is so happy seeing Wonder Woman and she like slides her into like the plush toy, the giant plush toy, and the girl is just like the biggest smile on her face. I'm like, this movie's awesome. This movie's gonna be great. It's cheesy, but they're gonna embrace it, but it's gonna be well done. Not cheesy like Batman Robin from 97, but like well done. Like we're fully aware what's going on here. Oh, wait, hold on. I know we were going to talk about Soul real quick.
Yeah.
Did you stick around for the last? Did you see the post-credit scene?
Oh, I might not have. What was the post-credit?
Okay, so you know Wonder Woman. Here's the other thing too. They make a big deal about this gold outfit that she had.
Yeah,
and it's so funny because it's like, okay, so it's kind of like you gotta like reward the hero has to earn this armor, right?
Right.
The hero, like that's how usually these type of things are. Like Mando does these things to get his Beskar armor. He slowly builds himself up.
Right. It's like leveling up.
Yeah, he's leveling up. So when he gets a spear later on in season 2, and he's able to use all those things. It's like a hero's quest. It's like, and then Wonder Woman has this armor that was just sitting in her fucking closet. And I guess here she was like, I guess I'll finally use this now. I mean, like there's no like quest for it. Like when she goes on the quest with Steve Trevor, that would make sense. Like I need to get this armor or something. Yeah. And then there's like a little mission and she gets the armor.
Fight a mini boss or something.
Yeah, I gotta fight a Cerebus or something. Right. That would be sick.
Yeah.
Something, mini boss, whatever. Kid Hercules. And then Kevin Sorbo's Hercules.
Oh yeah, that would have been awesome.
But like he's just like a right-wing nut now.
Right. He sues him in court and loses.
Yeah. God's not dead. Whatever that shit is.
Yeah.
So she earns the armor, and it's like, and then she uses it and makes her all powerful, and that's how she's able to do it. Instead, it was just like, I guess I'll wear it. Oh, I had this laying around, but she tells the story and of the woman. I think her name was like Amethyst or Anesthesia. I don't even know. And you see, like they close up on the woman's eyes, and then after the credit scene, they kind of go to like this. I don't know, kind of like a city. What looks like blocks, like a festival or something's going on. And you see this woman walking from the back, and something happens where a telephone falls, and the woman catches it, and then the lady thanks her and turns around, and it's Linda Carter.
Oh, awesome! Yeah,
and she was that character who originally wore the gold armor, and when they show a close up of her face, it was her eyes and everything. That scene when she's being cornered by all the I don't know the guys from the Zack Snyder's 300. All those buff dudes.
Yeah. Woof.
That's another movie. I would love to talk about that one day.
300.
Oh God, I cannot stand that fucking movie.
I just remember I read a review once, and this is the only time I've ever heard this word. Someone said that it was filled with dudity, which is like dude nudity. And I was like, that's a really weird way of saying it. Dudity. Yeah, it was like
that's pretty funny.
I think it may have been Patton Oswalt who said that, and I don't want to like swear to it, but I it may have been.
Sure, if it was him, I'm sure you could look that up easily. Just Patton Oswalt on 300. My favorite review of the movie 300 was at CPAC. There was this guy, the conservative, whatever, what's it called? CPAC.
Yeah. the Conservative Action Committee or something like that.
And there was this guy, Max Blumenthal, I think his name was, someone he would always every year put out like basically a little short documentary of him going to CPAC and interviewing people. And it got to the point though where he couldn't do it anymore because people knew who he was.
Right.
You know, he's progressive, I think. I don't know if I'm talking about the right guy here. And basically just making him, not even that he's making them look like idiots, just that's how these people come off. It's not like I asked you a question and you answered it. That's all I did. Like, and you chose to say those words to me. It's not my fault that you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I literally just asked you a question. Now, maybe I kind of knew you were going to be an idiot. I came in knowing you would. My favorite review of 300 was a guy that he interviewed, some younger guy at CPAC. I don't even know how it came up, but he said that 300 was the closest thing to a documentary. And he wasn't like it wasn't a joke.
Oh, shit.
He wasn't kidding. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just kidding, or like,
right.
You know, like some kind of sarcasm after. No, he legit said that 300 was a like closest thing to a documentary, and
yeah, well, sure,
that's interesting.
Yeah, 300.
And that's my favorite. That's what I always think of whenever I think of 300. Is that kid in CPAC thing? Like, kind of sums up the whole movie.
I remember hearing about the movie, and then I went back and read the comic. Was that Alan Moore?
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller.
Ended up turning out to be a complete. I think he's calmed down over the years, but after around 9/11,
right,
he became a complete right-wing lunatic, like aggressively anti-Muslim. Like he made a comic that starred Batman, a graphic novel, and it was called like Holy Terror, and it was going to be Batman basically going against the
Taliban or something.
Yeah. And DC sat up for a long time, and they were just like, we are not releasing this. This is so, it's just like, it's bad, first of all.
Right.
And it's just like beyond offense. It's like, there's just so many things wrong with it. And it's like, we're already like into a couple years into the Iraq war, and it's a fucking disaster on every end. You know, everyone's like dying, and like it's so hated, the war. DC is like, we're not touching this. So I guess he decided to basically release it himself. He just removed the ears of the character, changed the costume to like brown and like I don't know, brown. Like he changed the colors of the costume, and like there was this like Catwoman character, but like he deviated so much from Catwoman that it was just like some lady in fishnets.
And they're like, we're not even going to sue you. We're just
go ahead, release your garbage. And like, I don't think it was called like, I think he even kept the name Holy Terror, but it's I mean, I think I've seen bits of it. It's out there, and it doesn't get brought up ever, probably because either A, it's awful, or like it's so offensive and bad that it's like, let's never bring this up.
Yeah.
Don't want to lose Dark Knight Returns trade paperback sales from slipping.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't even know how did we bring up Frank Miller? Oh, because he made 300.
So. Oh yeah. We briefly touched on Soul. I think I will. Oh, that's where it went. I veered off. Yeah.
Okay, you didn't see it, so I'm not going to go into too much. But like, the messaging is really muddled because it's all about like, you know, he's a musician, and he wants to like make it, and he thinks the only way to be a successful artist is like kind of get noticed and become considered like a great. But you see him, he's a teacher in the beginning, spoilers, and in like a teacher in like Harlem or something like that, and he's been just like working there for years, but he wasn't an actual, I think he was only like an adjunct. I don't know, they wouldn't call him adjuncts. It's like I don't know if he was regardless, he wasn't like a full-time teacher.
Right.
And they told him basically, as he was about to like go try out for this gig that he's been trying to get forever, he finds out that the principal comes up and is like, we're hiring you. you know, you're gonna
Right.
have like health insurance, you're gonna have every, you know, basically, and it's like we're locking you in, but the joke has been going there, but because he always had that outlet of like, I'm gonna do this. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
felt like he was trapped. And in the beginning, it's like when the principal says, you know, we're like basically locking you in. That's when all of a sudden he feels it and he doesn't, you know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
It's like he's been doing this shit. He's probably going there every fucking day anyway for the past couple of years, but he's not like
It's not
official.
official,
There's
right?
some people who are like that. They almost don't like, they're like, yeah, I don't have health insurance and anything, but I don't want to be locked in. But it's like,
Right.
dude, there, you guys, like, you're basically getting,
Colonoscopy, schmolonoscopy.
you're
I don't
still
want to be
getting your
locked in.
colonoscopy. You can call it whatever you want. You're still getting a camera going up your ass with like looking for polyps.
Ugh.
Yeah. I highly recommend if you're experiencing any problems whatsoever, do definitely get a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
It could save your life. Do not wait till the age of 50 or 55. That's it. That's my
Your
medical.
PSA.
That's like PSA for YSGOAT. You know?
Sure.
So, and don't try to do it at home. Don't do a home colonoscopy kit. You will not like the result. So he, of course, he's like slips and something happens to him and he basically dies.
Yeah.
That's the plot of the movie. But and I'm not going to ruin it. But basically, the lesson of the movie was that you shouldn't. That like especially like artists and people who like focus in on things and they, you know, be something and it's like and they forget everything else in the world. Like, you know, there's nothing else. They're like they become like lost souls and like it's like, oh, you know, you want to perfect your art or you want to like do this thing and you kind of forgot to like, you know, get married or
Right.
make friends or like, you know, have kids, you
Enjoy
know,
the
whatever
little-
the things
yeah.
that are supposed to make your life full outside of the career or your goals. And it's funny that this movie has this great message. I mean, it's a nice
Sure.
message.
It's a great
Sure,
message.
yeah. I just find it funny because the movie, all these CGI films require artists who work their life to basically work for Pixar or any type of major animation departments and probably work at some times of the year, especially like call them crunch times, you know, in video game
Yeah.
industry and in animation industry, where you will be expected to work 20 hours a day for probably a couple of weeks. I
Yeah.
find it interesting that the that I feel like the messaging's a little muddled. That's all because
It
I
is.
would feel like all those Pixar like they show this scene when he's like in this weird area of like the afterlife, and it's like it like they're not normal souls anymore. And I can't describe. You got to see the movie, but they're all like they're just repeating the same thing over and over, and they're just kind of lost in their whatever they were doing. And I just find it really funny because so I mean, right? We were talking about this before. You said
Yeah.
something funny.
Well, I was like the only people that really get to slow down and enjoy life and spend time with their family and pursue their interests outside of commercial endeavors are the people exploiting others. You know, like if
Right.
you're the only people who get to do that are the ones that are like riding the wave created by the labor of others. You know, so sure, if you want to go create, you know, follow your passion and like start I'm gonna take up like jazz guitar, you know, and quit my job. No, you're not going to do that unless you own the company or own stock in unless you're exploiting others. You don't get to do that because life's real hard and you got to work and you got to feed your kids and you got to have insurance and all that shit, and most of us have to work like 40 hours, at least 40 hours a week for it. Fucking quit your health insurance job and go to.
Well, I mean, it's just funny that like this message it gets muddled, and like I said, I've watched other Pixar movies where they had these muddled messages. Like one of them is Wall-E, which
Yes.
is about like, well, Wall-E's this little robot takes place in like a post-apocalyptic future.
Yep.
Man's not living on the planet. The planet's just like one big junkyard, and like Wall-E's one of these robots that like supposed to clean up the planet while man is away. And
Right.
it's the movie ends up being all about like consumerism and like how consumerism is like completely why we have environmental problems and we have too much garbage, we have too much stuff. And I thought it was great. And when I saw the movie, I thought, well, I'm going to go out and buy myself a Wally figure, Wally lunchbox. I'm going to get some McDonald's and Wally toy. There's a lot of Wally stuff out there.
A lot of Wally stuff.
And it was interesting because like the first towers of garbage that Wally made in the movie was Wally tied in merchandise. I thought that was kind of cool that they put that in the movie.
It's kind of meta.
Yeah. And I find, again, with Soul, it's like, it's a good movie. And then with that, just, I just find it really funny that, again, the only way these movies can be produced is through the just time and energy that the artist put into it. It's great, like you said, it's a great movie. It's great. It's great to be able to be like, hey, man, stop back and go on vacation. Do all this stuff. It's great to do that when you're the boss or you're one of the top executives. Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. You can relax a little bit, let go,
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they probably will say they're on their email all day, sure, whatever. But yeah, it's funny, like you said. It's like
it is ironic, I mean,
it's ironic that it's because maybe Pixar is one of the better companies out there for artists. I could be wrong. Like
even the best of companies, though, someone is making money off your labor. Someone is getting their leisure off of your labor. That's
right. Well, I'm just talking about like some of these like studios and stuff. Like I heard horror stories. Like one of the worst was the Seth Rogen movie Food Fight.
Oh, okay.
Where like supposedly people never even got paid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like look it up. I mean, the movie's awful. It was like one of the worst movies I ever seen. It was like a CGI cartoon, but it was all like perverted,
Oh, okay.
So bad. But yeah, I mean, look up that story. That one's interesting. So yeah, I highly recommend you watch Soul. Just ignore everything.
I'll check it out. I mean,
you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, those are.
I liked it. I'll definitely. I want to watch it again. I'd say I don't think it's really for kids, and it's not like it's too dark or it's gonna scare them. I just don't think they'll be interested in it.
Yeah, it's thematically. It sounds like the type of thing. So, like, I think kids do real well with movies that are about things that are relevant to kids, like what's a friend, or how do you deal with conflict, or what happens when you realize your parents can't always keep their promises. Those are like real relevant things for kids. Like, how do you go into the afterlife without regretting everything is like an adult theme. That's like
right. Like Inside Out was great because it was about like a 12-year-old girl who's starting to go through changes and was moving, and it was all inside her brain.
Yep.
Cartoon characters. And it could appeal to kids because it started a kid, and it
could appeal to parents because you're like, oh, that's what my kid's dealing with. It's like that worked perfectly.
Yeah, but this movie is like
missing the kid part.
No, and it's interesting too because it kind of reminded me of that depressing Robin Williams movie, "What Dreams May Take Us," or
What Dreams May Come. Yeah,
the one where he dies and goes to like a weird heaven and like.
Well, his wife committed suicide.
Yeah, well, he dies, and then he finds out his wife committed suicide,
yeah.
So he wants to go try to save her soul.
Right. Yeah.
And he's going through like, I gotta see it. I want to see if it even holds up visually. Like, I remember seeing it in the theater and thought it was like it was okay. It was okay. It was like,
you know what I watched the other day that holds up wonderfully? The Thing.
The original?
Yeah.
I have to see it. I honestly don't think I ever sat through the whole thing.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Someone on
funny how I said that, right?
Yeah.
Because the movie's called The Thing.
Yeah.
Sat through the whole thing.
Someone said on Twitter, like, which is the better one, Alien or The Thing? And I was like, oh, but they are really similar. And so then I watched The Thing. But anyway,
so
I'll check out Soul. I will.
That sounds like a good one. Like I said, I'd say almost like don't watch it around the expectation of your kid watching it. I would almost watch it yourself. And if your kid wants to watch it one day or shows any interest,
sure,
watch it with her. But like, I think it's perfectly fine to watch it. It is I think it's really good. To wrap this up, I know we've been going on kind of long. We haven't even talked about any of the current events. But it's like these are the first two big movies to like really come out since the coronavirus. Like,
well, Tenet in the theaters, and
Tenet
then
came
these
out in
two.
theater.
Yeah.
I'm talking about to be released on streaming service. I'm trying to think if it was any other big movies that like there was some small big movies, like there was like a Tom Hanks World War II movie. I heard it wasn't really good. That came out, I think Apple TV or something.
Okay,
but, yeah. I would say that these two are the first real, like Mulan. They released it. You could buy it on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
I guess that kind of counts. But I would say this is like bigger. I would say so a Pixar movie is bigger than, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. And then Wonder Woman being like a tentpole film also. And I don't know, maybe it was like, the studios are like, just fucking release Wonder Woman Max on HBO. It's not that good.
Yeah.
And like Soul's like, this is a great movie. We made like a really good movie here, but like just put it on Disney Plus because kids are not really gonna want to see this in the theater. Like someone made a joke and said that like Soul was great and it was good that I got to see this at home because I didn't have to hear my kid wanting to push me, make me leave early. The kid could just go in the room and go look on his iPad. And that's
that
kind of
sounds...
happened with my kid. He ended up losing interest in it real fast. But I'm not the one who wrote that. Someone else wrote that. I thought that was really funny. And it's like, probably the studios are just like, let's just get these out in the end of the year and we'll see what happens next year.
Yeah.
Like, I heard that like supposedly now Dune is going to be in the theater only.
I heard that too. Yeah.
Like, it makes sense. A movie like that needs to be like, now I hope by the time it comes out, it can fully be enjoyed.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I guess that's a good transition to the politics stuff, because I think if the virus calms down and the vaccine, works as advertised and is accepted, we could be looking at next fall being normalish.
I think that like it'd be nice to not have a clown show for a president anymore.
Yep. I
know that some people will say the Biden's a neoliberal and also I'm like,
I'll take it.
Guy's not president yet. Doesn't matter. But he's going to be a million times better with the virus than fucking the guy an administration and a party that tells people it doesn't exist while they go get vaccinated. Marco Rubio got vaccinated last week. We talked about it on YSGOAT.
Yeah.
And Marco Rubio is already yesterday started basically telling people like the virus isn't real.
Well, we were going to talk about that. That was going to be
that over with.
Yeah. I think Marco Rubio is a weird one because he's so terrible. He can't commit to one. He can't commit to one thing. He is so calculated and craven. He has not an authentic or genuine bone in his body. And, he was attacking Trump and then he was supporting Trump and then he's, I think at the end of the day, he kept saying coronavirus isn't real and it's overblown and this, that, whatever. They get a vaccine. He butts his way to the front of the line and he gets his vaccine. And then the next day he's out there telling everyone else that there is no coronavirus and it was all overblown and you don't even need to wear masks. And
Fauci like lied about masks. Like they still hold on to this thing that Fauci said back in March. And it's like, when do you guys actually give a fuck about who lies and who doesn't? I mean, even if you did lie or didn't, that was back in March. We're in fucking...
Yeah, that's just an evolving understanding of the virus, that's not a lie or anything. That's just like...
Anyone with a brainstem knows that he had to see that, because if he did it, you would have had every scumbag on the internet hoarding masks and selling them for like hundreds of dollars, if not more.
Well, this latest thing, I am confident, and I've heard this a couple times, I'm confident that he believes at least Ivanka Trump is planning on running for office in Florida, and his seat is the most likely. His seat is the first one up. And I could see
that's my laugh that's my actual genuine laugh. I laugh like that.
Well, I could see Ivanka primarying Little Marco, right?
Yeah, she'll come out and she'll be like, Little Marco. Like she calls him Little Marco, makes a reference to his
teeny. You'll have
Little Marco's teeny peeny.
Nepotism Barbie versus Little Marco,
Little Marco's teeny peeny.
Well, that's where I think the Democrats have a real advantage. Like they could run someone, they get a strong candidate, they could beat Ivanka or Little Marco.
I honestly don't think that they'll be able to beat Ivanka Trump in Florida.
I don't know.
I wouldn't count that. I wouldn't count any of that. They couldn't beat fucking Susan Collins.
Well, that's Maine. I mean, a state race, the better indicator is that
the woman that ended up fucking losing, and just like Gillum and all these people like pocketed like $14 million or something crazy like that.
Gillum didn't win and Biden didn't win. Those are the things that make me think Ivanka could win. But
well, Biden won, but he didn't win Florida.
He didn't win Florida. Yeah, I'm just talking about the state, like the state of Florida.
Yeah, I'm saying that to bring up Biden as something, we're talking about specifically the state of Florida.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, if
run someone really good, I will be honest though, I'm not worried. And I know I could hear some asshole on Twitter saying like, oh, don't count them out. They won in 2016. I'm like, they won by accident in 2016.
Yeah.
They lost the popular vote by $3.5 million, 3.5 million votes. Stop treating these people like as if they're these like political wizards of any kind. They fucking their way into.
They bumbled and cannot. And also, like you had like. Well, we did you can check out our great hack episode to see how like there's a lot of weird shit going on in 2016.
There's a combination of so many things. One, you get a passivity no matter what when you have a Democratic president, because you don't have a guy tweeting stochastic terrorism every fucking day on Twitter. I'm sorry. And then I know there's assholes online, there's these like douchebag leftists online that will say shit like, oh, I guess everyone's gonna go back to brunch and go back to sleep. And I'm like, okay, I could actually see how that is true, but it's true because people their lives won't be like, they won't have to wake up every fucking day to something stupid that harms people. Now, will their lives be better? I don't know. I don't know if things will be better on like a grander scale, but I can say that you won't wake up every day having a piece of shit saying something ridiculous every morning, start ginning up the pot every day. That's a big fucking deal.
It'll be a big deal.
That's very refreshing. And you know what? I do believe that the Trump name is dead politically. And by the time once January 20th comes in and he's done and he's gone, and then there's like actual investigations done by states, then I don't think Ivanka Trump might be even allowed to run.
Yeah, well, that's another thing.
He might be busy doing other shit.
But it is kind of weird to see as Trump's presidency wind down, to see the Republican Party splinter, and you have the Trump true believers and you have the people that are hoping they can revert back to being standard Republicans in 20, 30 days.
I think a lot of them will get back in line. I think once 2024 comes, I think a lot of them will get back in line to whatever piece of shit they run back.
Yeah.
And they might lose like a percentage of the ones that are like, we're just there for the lulz,
right?
That Trump was entertaining, and these are shitty people. Like, I'm not saying like, they just won't be interested. They'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
They won't. It might not be politics. It might just be like, going back to making like videos about SJWs or something.
Well, this is the and that's the elected group, but one of the first things we were going to talk about in the politics is the regular people, and one of the things that has happened over the last few days that may be a symptom of that is the Nashville bombing.
That happened on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Did anyone die, or was just 3 injured?
There were several people injured. One person did die, but I believe they think that is the bomber himself, the suicide bomber.
Right. Well, he's just a lone wolf.
Yeah. Well.
Right. Just a lone wolf, just a guy.
You and I were talking about this before. It's weird. Like, it's a little weird that not a lot is known about this guy. Like, normally, you should find out pretty quickly if someone had an opinion on politics, and they haven't really divulged any information about that. I mean,
the guy revealed that he was a MAGA chud.
I've seen the guy's name? Anthony Quinn Warner.
Yeah, he was like some white dude in like early 60s or something.
Yeah, well, look, yeah, if you say an older white dude from Tennessee, then I'm going to think MAGA chud. That's just where my head goes. I mean, like, it's
How dare you stereotype the obvious?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's probably plenty of like older, liberal white dudes in Tennessee too, but they're probably a lot fewer in number. But it's weird that no one has really identified this guy's political leanings. It's 100% weird that the media is not calling him a suicide bomber. They're calling him like a sad, depressed lone wolf. And it's even weirder that the president of the United States has not commented publicly.
Never mentioned it once. Not even like, I mean, this guy's always been a piece of shit. Even like, I don't know, anytime there was like some kind of tragedy, like, even if it did, it clearly didn't come from him, it like came from someone on the staff, would be written better. It'd be like, our hearts go out to this. And then Trump would tweet like an hour later, like, I don't know, fuck this pieces.
Right.
People deserved it or something. Yeah, he hasn't even mentioned it once.
No.
He's just tweeting every day about like a stolen election, and
it's so
he's just never going to give that up.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I mean, like these.
My thought is that this guy is probably a Trump supporter.
Yeah,
Trump never brought him up.
I'm perfectly willing to believe. Like, look, I do also hear a lot of people talking about it being in close proximity to an AT&T building. I do believe it's entirely possible that the guy was just pissed off at his outrageous AT&T bill and decided
I thought he worked for AT&T or something.
Yeah, maybe he did. I don't know.
He worked for AT&T, and well, this bill is out of control. I'm gonna blow myself up. I'll show them.
Well, maybe he's got like incurable disease, and he knows he's on his way out anyway, and he's like, well, you know what? This is how I'm gonna do it.
Wasn't that like some weird obsession with 5G?
I've heard that a couple times.
Someone was saying, like, I think it was like the Surfs or something. The guy made a joke and said this, but I agree with him 100%. When they roll out 6G, they shouldn't call it that. Just come up with something different.
Yeah.
Don't use the G anymore. Come up with something. Don't even tell people. Just do it.
Right.
Do it. You remember like all the lunatics early in the year who claimed that coronavirus is caused by 5G?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Ugh. So
fucking idiots. Everyone knows it was the contrails, plane contrails.
Chemtrails, yeah. Everyone knows it was the gay frogs.
Well, the contrail, did they call them chemtrails? I always heard it was contrails, like
chemtrails.
Chemtrails.
Yeah, I thought it was chemtrails. Well, you could be right. You remember last week when I
the fan service.
And you were like actually right about what fan service really was. And
well,
that's not what it was.
I gotta stop Googling that.
Disgusting planet we live on. Very weird planet.
It is weird. The Nashville thing. Look, I am not curious. Is the wrong word. I'm kind of like dreading that January 6th because Trump keeps tweeting about it. And all these like.
He definitely wants people. He really, for his own ego, I think, wants to see people die.
Yeah, I think he wants violent.
He needs conflict. Like an army of Caesar Sazaks, whatever that guy's name was. The guy from 2 years ago. Like he wants like an army of those dudes.
Right.
And Yeah, I mean, they're saying like lone wolf, but it's like, who the fuck knows? This could be the first one. This could be a totally isolated incident. Who the hell knows? Until there's more information or if they're willing to give it out, I feel like the shadier it gets, the I don't know. I mean, next week there could be two. The week after there could be who the fuck knows? Especially if it's like
the thing is like the president, someone should have come out and said, this is an awful tragedy.
Biden said something, right? He's not the president yet, but he did.
Yeah.
He said something.
You say like, you don't even have to make a big deal about it. You just have one of your aides say like, our hearts are with Nashville.
Yeah, and we're looking into it.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Right. You don't have to make a big profound statement. You just say, Nashville, we're with you on this. Hope get well soon. Thoughts and prayers.
All that stuff.
Right.
That's something. The most basic shit.
It's like
you can do.
If any human on the planet said to me, like, my mom passed away a few years ago or whatever, I would say instinctively, I'm so sorry. It would just come out of my mouth. I wouldn't even be thinking.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Like it was painless.
Yes, right.
Don't say that. It gets weirder when you start adding more words. That's all you have to say.
Right. You don't have to add something like, I hope she died in a blaze of glory, like in a combustible RV outside of a 5G factory. I hope she took a few telecom workers with her.
Sir, this seems very specific. We need to add a question here.
You just instinctively say, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But like, Trump is incapable of that. Trump is the kind of...
It's like the same thing. It's like the Charlottesville thing. The least you could do is just say, yeah, this is wrong. Instead, it was like, oh, wait, a lot of these guys are my supporters. I got to do the dumbest thing possible.
When you tell Trump, like, you just lost your mother, Trump will say, when I lost my mother, it was a much bigger deal. Like that's the kind of shit he would say.
Remember the guy who was getting the presidential medal? This was like a week or two ago.
Oh yeah, the wrestler
like walked out, didn't say anything.
Yeah,
and the guy was just like, "What?" I mean, it's like, are you? This guy is such
a colossal prick.
It's like. I got into like this stupid, like this thing on Twitter. I said it's gonna be nice waking up not having a stochastic terrorist for president anymore. Like I said, one guy's like, "Oh, I guess you can go back to sleep with Biden. They'll still have international wars." They're all I'm like, dude, I'm fully aware of that. I just think, as a society, we will be in a better place. May not be right away, but it will be in a year or two, just for the fact of not having such a human piece of vile garbage as like
it's like the difference between like, look, sometimes you're driven by an Uber driver that's like super professional and doesn't have like 17 empty cups of like coffee or like 8 spent cans of Monster on his floorboard. Sometimes you are driven by a nice Uber driver and you're like, I can rest and this guy will give. And other times you're like terrified for your life. And Trump is like the terrified for your life kind of president.
On edge.
Yeah.
That's not healthy.
Who the fuck knows what he'll do? The Senate and everyone's gonna get $600 or whatever, and then but no one knows because Trump. Who knows what Trump's gonna do? The guy could fuck it up.
Didn't he finally sign something? And now I guess the Democrats because he signed this thing. The Democrats are voting, or they did vote to get to 2,000, which now leaves it in the fucking hands of McConnell, which is good.
From my understanding. Trump signed and the Democrats passed 2 bills. So the first one is a $600 per person deal. And that should be
also for the budget. This wasn't even just.
Yeah. Well, these are 2 separate bills, I believe.
Shut down.
And the second one they did was for 2,000. And so now if the Senate can choose to pass the 600 and not even listen to the 2,000 or whatever. But Bernie Sanders said he's going to filibuster the defense bill unless they get an up or down vote on the $2,000.
good.
Which
Here's the
is,
thing.
yeah.
Somebody was like, some guy, I'm not even going to mention his name. He's a bigger account on Twitter. He's like, this is a leftist person, but he's like, it's like useless. They know this is forming the Democrats and know that like it won't pass into the Senate. And I'm like, well, you know, I really left the comment. He did like it though, so he wasn't like. I said it actually might not be a bad idea to show the country that it's not a good idea to have the Republicans in charge of the Senate. Maybe that's a good thing. If they don't pass on it, well, guess what? In a couple of weeks, they're going to be able to pass on it again. Maybe that could help us win those 2 seats in Georgia.
Yeah.
You have to vote on it again. You won't have Mitch McConnell in charge anymore. And you'll have Kamala Harris as the breaking vote.
That would be,
like maybe it's actually a good thing. Is it? I mean, that's actually the Democrats doing their job. Isn't that what you want them to do?
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, I don't even understand what the argument is. Like, do you not want the $2,000? Are you like, yeah, that's how our government works. The Congress does it and the Senate does it. That's maybe a good lesson for people like voters to understand that it's important to vote and make sure you don't get people like Ivanka Trump in the Senate or Ted Cruz and then you don't allow it to happen where you don't let Mitch McConnell become leader of the Senate. It's a good lesson. And the Democrats should get the credit for passing a $2,000 thing.
Yeah.
And if they were smart, they should really bring it up every minute. I think we need, this is why I don't like Nancy Pelosi, because I don't think she's a strong pitch.
Why aren't we seeing commercials? I watched TV tonight. I should have seen a commercial.
Right.
With
there should Nancy, be commercials.
Yeah. Hey.
Mitch McConnell refuses to pass
we want to give you $2,000. Even dipshit Trump wants to give you $2,000.
Make it a viral video on YouTube.
Yeah. But
like, I don't understand why, like, do a Dan Crenshaw style video. Have Nancy Pelosi jumping out of a fucking plane.
Film that shit in 1D.
A chud van, fucking superhero style.
Yeah.
Fucking smashing the window, just like Dan Crenshaw did in his commercial.
Right.
I would love to see Nancy Pelosi do that. That'd be sick. That'd be fine if it's an obvious stunt double. I don't care.
Yeah. That'd be fine.
And she could be eating ice cream in the end.
Yeah.
Laughing.
Well, I think that is true, that the Democrats should be like, this should be flooding the airwaves. Maybe it is in Georgia, for all I know, but
I think I like to think that the 2 fucking guys, the Loeffler and Perdue, are dead on arrival.
Well,
this won't make them vote on it.
Yeah,
make them fucking sweat.
Right. Well, that's their thing, is that they are stuck. Loeffler and Perdue are stuck in a weird position where they have to vote to override Trump's veto of the defense bill. So they'll have to rub the Trumpers the wrong way. And they're going to have to, hopefully, if Bernie holds the line, they'll have to vote against giving everyone in Georgia $2,000. So,
yeah,
good.
Fucking make them sweat. Did you see that one asshole congressman going on about like why people shouldn't get 2,000?
Yeah, Brady. He's from Texas or something. I
don't even know what the fuck he was saying. I'm like, this guy is dumb. This guy just thinks we're all dumb. Like,
you know what he is most famous for, though? He's the guy who helped write and co-sponsor the bill to give billionaires a tax cut.
Oh, it's so nice of him.
Yeah. He's like super concerned about the deficit, and that like me getting $2,000 won't stimulate the economy. Fuck these people. I am stunned that like it's really a remarkable tribute to our nation that we have not descended into revolution. The
reason is because a good portion of the population are misguided by right-wing media.
Yeah.
Like they are so.
No, you're right.
They don't even know. They still think Trump has a chance of winning. They really believe that he won and it was stolen. Like I said, I went to I went to the post office last week. There's some guy with his kids. He's wearing a fucking Trump mask. It's like, I don't know, like, is that supposed to be irony? Like, I mean,
Right.
guy's a fucking loser. Why would you wear that, especially on your mouth? Like, the guy is a fucking loser. Like, he lost. I mean, this guy doesn't look like what is a stereotypical
No.
make a joke and like a stereotypical MAGA chud. This was like a normal looking dude who you would think, you would just probably works in an office, probably a really nice guy,
Sure.
No, I'm sure. I'm serious. Like, he just seemed like a normal person. He just seemed like an everyday person, and he had this stupid Trump mask. Yeah, sure. Guy's loaded with Nazi tattoos. Like a whole back sleeve of like, yeah, sure.
He is literally
straight up
4 Pepe frogs in a trench coat. He is literally.
Yeah, you're right. It was 4 Pepe. With that, as the head. But I'm just saying, like, this was like, he didn't look like the thing that we make fun of when we see like the MAGA.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah.
And I'm just like, that to me shows you like how entrenched our population is. That's why like the Republicans get away with it, because they know that they can vote against everything that helps these people, because one, they get to own the libs, and they're going against Hollywood. It's Hollywood. They're trying to tell you to use pronouns, and like, I was like Ben Shapiro tweeted this stupid thing about the great tyranny next year will be like having to deal with pronouns, and I'm like, what? That is not
That's not what that is.
Anyone. No, like, and I said Ben is trying to distract people from real problems. That's like, that is not a problem. If you think that's a problem, guess what? You have no problems.
Yeah, you have a very wonderful life. Congratulations.
Or you're so brainwashed that you're not aware of all the problems that you really have, all the rot in your life. You're not even aware. That's probably the strongest possibility. It's not that like,
that does seem most likely.
Right. And you would think like, oh, well, these people will wake up. And that's why I said, like, we get these like older, tired Democrats always like, they always try to play this game, the centrist ones. They always try to play like, oh, the people will wake up, they'll see the Republicans, and they'll be like, oh, no, we're going to vote against them because they're trying to shut down the, I don't know, library on Friday earlier.
These people are really concerned about the library.
These people don't give a fuck. They just want to own the libs. They've been trained for the past 40 years. They watch scumbags like Steven Crowder, and like, they want, like, the ratings on some of these things are so high. We talked about this last week. We didn't talk about it during the podcast, but you said to me, how does Tim Pool, what is he? Why is he a thing?
You said Joe Rogan.
And I said Joe Rogan plays into it. And again, he's just a reactionary chud who uses like clickbaity headlines, and he's constantly updating. So, but I don't know why he's a thing. He's a thing because our society is rotten and he knew how to manipulate it. I don't know.
Well, I read a long time ago that like conspiracy theories take root when people are really, when they feel insecure, like when the world, and they always point to the Kennedy assassination as being like the first, big American conspiracy theory. It wasn't, but like people talk about it that way. And they say that like, it's much more reassuring to think that there's this vast conspiracy than to think that the world could be so counter to what you want it to be. And I think that like there's something there to like the Tim Pool shit, But
like the thing about the Kennedy thing, was there was enough information and enough stuff to make it validate as a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like you get into some really crazy town shit. It's like the same thing with 9/11.
True.
There's some valid things that would make you think, okay. But then when you start getting it deeper into it, you start hearing crazy shit where like the planes are holograms, and that's where you get into crazy town.
Yeah.
The conspiracies from the right now are like just complete bananas. They're not even they're not even constructed right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Kennedy assassination, like at least like if you follow the events.
Oh yeah, no, that's a very compelling theory, conspiracy theory.
It's like Kennedy didn't really want to go to war with Vietnam, or supposedly would have liked to avoided it. And then he gets killed, and then what happens? We all of a sudden escalate, and we're in Vietnam.
Right.
And there's a lot you could look at that. Same thing with like 9/11. It's like
also right.
Well, all of a sudden we have this Patriot Act that was, what? And then you find out like Project of a New American Century was written in 96. Or was it 96?
Project that sounds right.
It was floating around during the Clinton years. It was done by like the guy who became the Secretary of what was his name? Oh shit. It was Cheney, Bush, and then who was like the third guy who was like the defense or
I
they made a great documentary about him. He ended up leaving. He was the guy who was famous for like you don't get the troops you want or something.
It wasn't Rumsfeld. It was Rumsfeld.
It was Rumsfeld.
Was it Rumsfeld? Okay. Yeah.
But you see that and it's there. It makes sense. Right. And like maybe fine. Maybe 9/11 wasn't like bombs going up, but you could definitely say, you know what? They clearly knew about it and just.
That was my point with Tim Pool. Is he just seems like a moron. He doesn't seem like
he's a reactionary chud who just follows the right wing grift. I wouldn't say he's a moron. I would say he's an asshole.
But even like Ben Shapiro, I don't like Ben Shapiro at all. But like he comes across as like, oh, he's like thoughtful about stuff. He has like, I don't know. He has like clearly articulated like, opinions.
That's the funny thing. I've watched his like reviews on movies.
Yeah.
Like, again, he's an asshole, but like you can tell there is actual thought put into the words he's using. Like he wrote them down and thought about it. Now the takes are going to be terrible.
Sure.
But you can tell there's like actual compassion involved. And like this is what he really believes.
Right.
I'm talking about when he talks about movies. I'm not talking about like reality or anything. But I think Tim Pool is like just a very successful grifter.
Yeah, seems it.
I think he's definitely I've seen him like debate people and stuff, and I think he definitely fell down the rabbit hole and is just probably believes the shit he's saying now.
Yeah.
But I still deep down think he's just an opportunist. And he's made millions from it.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it just shows a guy like that can get successful. We live there's a lot of shitty people out there that are willing to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get, it's like weird, like chicken and egg type thing here. Like, he's not the first person to do this. He didn't invent this. He's,
true.
He's the one that's successful at doing this right now. Like, the guy is like, the amount of views he gets is
crazy.
Insane. Anytime he puts out a video, he has 3 channels on YouTube. The guy is multi-millionaire. Like, probably one of the most successful YouTube people.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, good for him.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Well, did you see the movie Soul?
Well, we've kind of gone out of order on the things we were going to talk about. We did want to talk about Louie Gohmert. Who's always
there's not much to say about Louie Gohmert. He's suing Mike Pence for what?
That is true. Here's the basic story. He is suing Mike Pence to make Mike Pence choose his own electors. So like he's basically saying to Mike Pence, you have to pick who you want to be the electors. And like in theory, I don't even know how you enforce that, because Mike Pence could just say, well, I choose to follow the law. It's a weird lawsuit. But like, yeah, Louie Gohmert is suing Mike Pence, which is that's the punchline, right? Like that's
tooth fall out of his mouth recently.
Oh, I don't know.
He was like being interviewed, and while during the interview, like
He had like a little flipper or something.
What?
He had like a false tooth, or
I don't like. I don't. Yeah, I don't think it was an actual tooth. It could have been a cap or something. Like, I don't think it was just like, oh god. Like
he is always routinely one of the most awful Republicans. And that's saying quite a bit. He is
he
like
is possibly the worst congressman.
yeah, he's
Definitely in the top five.
comically terrible.
It's like him. If him, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, a guy from Georgia who run for Senate.
Yeah,
and then I don't know, pick your other favorite Republican congressman or
Devin
woman.
Nunes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Those 5 people just vanished off the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 other scumbags would take their place immediately.
Sure.
But
Senator Poole, please come to this.
Yes, Congressman Poole. Congressman Beanie, here you go. No, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. He's making that doesn't pay enough.
But
he doesn't give a shit.
It is a weird thing. Like I keep trying to
hold on. I want to make sure I want to make this clear.
Yeah.
The context. I'm not saying like they died. I mean, they just left.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
He went back to their home planet, like Poochie.
Well, I keep trying to
explode on the way back.
I keep trying to articulate this, and I can never do it. But like every human on the planet, if they were watching a sitcom and they saw a little kid strike out in a little league game, and then the kid started crying and shouting it's not fair and demanding a do-over and all that, everyone would universally laugh at that kid because it's funny. He's like ill-behaved and he's a chump and he hasn't been taught well and he's a crappy person. That's exactly what Trump is doing, and like
it's so pathetic.
It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic.
Yeah, a kid would know not to do that.
A little kid in the midst of that temper tantrum would start to feel self-conscious about it and then pull out of it. Most kids would be like, okay, I got to pull my shit together. I look like a fool. Everyone knows, I've been told by the adults in my life that shouting it's not fair is pathetic. I've been told that like blaming the rules is pathetic. I've been told.
Do you know when Trump will stop doing it?
When
Putin tells him.
Yeah, right.
I seriously believe that. There you go. That's a good conspiracy.
Yeah,
that's a great conspiracy. Good one. I think that the conspiracy should fucking exist forever.
Yeah,
and like come down to it that fucking Putin owns Trump.
Like how humiliated would you be? Like you've got to be like clueless to the point where it's like you're more clueless than most very small children, or you're being put up to it by someone, and
he's being put up. I think he's being put up to that by that, and he's also put up by like, again, that's his main source of income is MAGA. That's his income.
Yeah, that's true.
He has made insane amount of money in the past month.
Yeah.
Since the election, just all he does is grip up his stupid supporters. They get nothing out of it. Nothing.
I saw something.
It is the ultimate scam. It's so funny.
I don't know if this is true, but I saw something where like a huge order was placed by Trump, people, for MAGA gear on like November 4th. Trump 2020 gear, not like
the losing.
Yeah. Well, the theory was that like they knew they could still sell it, that would become a hot seller, knowing then that Biden was probably going to win. They were like, we can sell this MAGA shit 2020 because people will still buy it because they're stupid as fuck.
Like I said, that kind of normal looking person wearing a Trump mask a month after Trump lost.
Right.
The fact that there's 4 houses in my block that still wave their stupid Trump flags.
Well, it's funny you say that because like you told me a while back that you still have a Biden sign.
Oh, I never took it down. It will stay up until I'll take it down. I'm debating to take it down either after the 5th or 6th, I guess. when it's 100% confirmed, or I think when he's inaugurated.
Inaugurated, yeah.
Because I just like, one, it's like at this point, it's just to me like
I still wear my Biden Harris shirt whenever I go out, and I've actually started putting into the rotation my Hillary Clinton shirt and my Barack Obama shirt.
I have a Beto shirt.
Oh yeah, see, I mean, and if I had one, I'd be wearing it. And I'll wear that, and when when I wear it, like every once in a while, I'll get
people walk around with those stupid Reagan Bush shirts I see all the time.
So fuck them. But it's this is weird, like, because we let me look through our list. We talked about Nashville, talked about Rubio, we talked about Gohmert. You know who we didn't talk about was Dan Patrick.
This is really good. So Dan Patrick, well, he's an asshole. Just
yes.
get that out of the way.
He's the Attorney General of the state of Texas.
If he disappeared tomorrow, the state of Texas would automatically like just get a health point.
Yeah, I would say.
If he vanished, like you would also see like and it'd be like, oh good, everything's like a little better.
Is that the Woody? It almost sounded like the Woody Woodpecker theme.
Well, it is a little similar. That's well, and then there's Zelda. Is it Zelda? Now it's all merged together. Now you say that. It's like when you sing like the Superman, or is it Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then Star Wars, they all can merge into one thing.
Yeah, that is true.
And you're like, wait, which movie is what from?
Right.
Yeah, so Dan Patrick, he's the guy famous for, well, he's the Lieutenant Governor of Texas.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I said Attorney General, but you're right. He's Lieutenant
Governor of Texas, and he's famous for, well, one, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
But the thing he's most famous for this year was telling everyone definitely during the let's open back up quickly, let's get everybody back to work, basically telling people to sacrifice their grandma. They lived a good life, they'll go die.
Yeah.
That's basically what he said. And it's great, all these people who like work their whole life.
Yep.
If they're lucky enough to actually retire, not have to do work, like not have to be a greeter at a Walmart or work in a retail, that they actually did make enough and were able to, live an actual life. He told those people, no, you don't get to enjoy your sunset years. You go fucking die, because the economy has to open up. I'm Dan Patrick, and I
take one for the team.
Yeah. And he said he would do it too. Yeah, sure he will.
Sure.
Yeah. He's like in his secret compound, like filtered air, like UV lights to make sure viruses can't grow at all. And so he did like a Trump move where he said that he would pay $1 million to whoever could find like voter fraud in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And of course, I think he was trying to imply that the voter fraud is, of course, the Democrats. That's And the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania is a man who goes by the name of John Fetterman. He's a guy who looks like a person that I would see at a hardcore show back in the 90s if I went to go see like Agnostic Front, Madball at the time. I don't think Agnostic Front was playing. Sick of It All. Any of the hardcore shows, or if there was like, I would think John Fenner would be in the back. It's the kind of guy he doesn't need to go in the pit.
Right.
Don't want to bump into him.
He looks different.
He's lost like a lot of weight over the years. Like he was a big guy. Like
in a lot of his photographs, he looks like he has the same clothes.
Yeah. He's like the Kevin Smith disease.
Yeah.
Where Kevin Smith lost like 200 pounds, but still insists on dressing like a fat man, wears hockey jerseys all the time.
He almost looks like late 80s David Byrne Talking Heads. Like,
well, this guy's still pretty damn big and very intimidating looking. Like, he's like the guy you're not, probably the nicest guy in the world, but you don't want to fuck with him. It's probably a good idea not to. There's no reason to, and I don't know. It's like saying like, I'm going to ram my head against a cement wall.
Yeah.
Sure.
But maybe not. Maybe don't do that. Maybe.
Yeah. So he's happened. Well, I knew him from years ago, famous for like being like the mayor of like a really poor town in like, I think in Pennsylvania or something like that.
Sure.
And he would go on Bill Maher a lot at the time. This was like in the early mid 2000s. And I haven't seen him in years. And then I guess with the election, everything going on, I found that he's the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania. So John Fetterman today said, pay up because we found voter fraud.
Right.
And it was committed by a Trump supporter. So I hope Dan Patrick pays.
Get your checkbook out, Dan.
Fetterman's Twitter page. It's loaded with like, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure he's
all kinds of jokes like, yeah. Well, the pinned tweet is Texas Dan Patrick prepared to part with 1 million reward. PA wants its money. I mean, he doesn't want the money for himself.
No.
You know, they would go to like the state or something. I don't know. But yeah, he's just trashing him. I mean, like,
yeah, he has a picture of Stewie with "Where's my money?"
You got my money. Where's my money? It's like a panda. That gif of the panda in the office, just it's from a commercial, I think.
Yeah.
Well, not from here. And then it's really funny.
I hope he sues him.
Patrick's a fucking asshole. And the thing about him is he's one of these politicians. He's kind of like an older version of Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
He has a Dan Patrick radio. It's like politics. It's all more about like escalating himself as a viable
vehicle. Yeah.
A viable personality for political entertainment. He really does not have interest in, I think,
governing,
bettering anyone's lives in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a shitbag. And John Fetterman, I think, is the opposite. I think he's a guy who actually genuinely cares about what he does and I'll say that because I haven't seen him in years.
No.
I realized that this man's been working his way up and now he's the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania.
It's crazy.
So right? I think he is. I want to make sure.
No, you're right. He is.
That's a big
I saw
deal.
him on a TV
in
show.
Line to the governor
of
Pennsylvania, which is a major state in the country.
Yep.
So good on him. And I just think it's really funny. I have nothing else to say about it. I hope he doesn't let up. I hope it gets brought up.
Keep it up.
Yeah. Fuck, Dan Patrickson.
He's a dick.
He's a dick. He is definitely an asshole.
I guess this will be kind of a good segue to the last thing we were going to talk about for the news politics stuff is that we may be in line for a $600 cash payment from the government.
But we kind of talked. I guess we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, we did. Well, the deal is we're kind of ending, and we don't know yet as of airing tonight. It's 1 a.m. Central now. We don't know if every adult is going to get 600 and every dependent 600, or if every adult's going to get 2,000 and the kid something less. Yeah, we did cover this actually when we talked about Loeffler and Purdue. My guess is that the Senate kills the 2,000 and we get stimulus checks for I'd be glad to have the 600, but it's a paltry kind of insulting
amount. It's a
amount.
slap in the face.
It is.
It is a slap in the face. It doesn't do anything for anyone really. I mean, like I said, I will not. I mean, it does do stuff for people. There's people who would gladly take it. I'm just saying that it's a slap in the face, and it should not be accepted as that's it.
Yeah.
And again, this is not free money.
No, it's your money that you're getting back.
We pay taxes. Dumb it. Like, I'm so tired of these people who vote from the scumbag from Texas, that guy who spoke on the floor, basically trying to push this fake bullshit right-wing ideology of like, meritocracy and all that, and like working your ass off. That's the way you get it. And it's like, dude, people are working their ass off, but they're not. Like, that's the problem.
It's awful.
It's not acceptable. I hope Bertie
filibusters it, right?
I hope he filibusters the shit out of it. I hope it gets all the attention. I hope it forces them, like you said, the only way. What was it? The defense bill that.
Yeah, if Bernie's saying he'll filibuster the defense bill unless they give an up or down vote on the stimulus, the $2,000 checks,
Which forces the Republicans to have to vote on it.
To vote on it.
Record. They
Right.
should be. They should be on record.
Yeah.
They voted that you could have gotten 2,000.
And Kelly Loeffler said you can't. You can only have 600.
Right. And then have to see all the other Republicans. You know what always drives me nuts? I always get pissed off about this. There was like a vote recently. I think it was like literally the day after the guy who won in Arizona.
Mark Kelly.
Yeah. Him and the woman, I forgot her name. She's the other Democratic senator in Arizona.
Not Cinema.
Cinema, it is.
Is it Cinema? Okay, yeah.
It is. They voted on something shitty, like early on. It was like
Sure.
For the Pentagon or whatever. And people like, I saw people get mad. They're like, oh, great. You know, these two Democrats who want, you know, the state, but who cares if they're going to vote for this, right? And I'm like, okay, I get that. But how come no one ever gets pissed and question the fact that everyone on the Republican side voted for it?
Yeah.
So you got two Democrats, you get mad at the two Democrats for voting on it. But we're supposed to accept the fact that there's 51, I think it's 51 senators.
Currently it's 52.
Republicans, right? 50,
Yeah.
It was 53, now it's 52 because
Right.
Kelly won. And we're hoping it's 50. 52 Republican senator. Oh, actually, I think one Republican senator didn't vote for this. One Republican senator didn't vote for this. Okay, so we're okay with 50. Like, we as Americans accept the fact that there's always going to be at least 50 to 52 Republican senators are always going to vote for horrible things.
Yep.
And yes, we should go after the Democrats, and any Democrat that votes on it, we should question them and ask them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? And I'm not like, I don't want the Democrats to become shitty. I'm just saying, how come we should expect more from that other side? Why did they it's like they get a pass always.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've been conditioned for them to just accept that they're shitty. They're going to vote on shitty things.
Well, ideally that'll change. You know, I mean, like, I don't have great hopes that it will change soon enough, but things are changing.
All right, fine. Even if those two Democrats get in, and that's why I'm saying why I think like the right wing has done such a great job over the years with the media is that they're able to keep their consumer or their viewers, voters, all three are the same to them, keep their eye off the ball always, so that they never really focus. They never get to most of them. I'm sure some of them are like, yeah, but like never get to focus on what these people are actually voting on.
Yeah.
Who actually backs them? What are these people actually doing? Wait, you're okay with this? Oh, you're okay with removing these like protections that actually make sure my kid, I don't know, pants don't get ignited in flames when they hit an oxygen level that is not I'm just saying, like, I find that like super fucked up, and like, yeah, we should get pissed at like the Democrats that do that, but like, what about the other side? Like, no one ever, they get to do, no, that's fine, they get away with it. I mean, I guess there's nothing we can do about it. Maybe do people criticize the Democrats because they think they can maybe have an effect?
Well,
because they know they can on the other side.
I think they're just kind of wanting more out of the Democrats, you know, because they're supposed to be fighting the good fight.
Right, I get that, but then I also we should also make sure that other side that we have no control over never retains a majority power ever, because we know we can't do anything to like actually stop them.
Right.
Their constituents don't care. They don't care if we call them up. They don't care if we shame them because they get to go escape on their other media channels. They don't care. They don't care.
Well, they're never held to account, you know.
They're never held to account. They don't care. 335,000, is it 335,000 people now that are dead?
I think so, yeah. It's like 1 out of every 1,000 Americans.
Yeah, they don't care. This is like a slow burn. That show on HBO, The Leftovers, a slow burn that where we're losing almost 3% of the population around the world from this thing.
Jeez.
It's like no one fucking cares. No one cares. It's like I don't know. It's weird. This has been a very weird year.
It has.
I don't know if I'll ever like fully. I want to wake up tomorrow and it all be over and I could just go back to doing everything.
Right. Well, I mean, that'll of course not happen.
Go see Wonder Woman in the theater, be disappointed at the theater, home.
Pay $18 for popcorn.
You don't have to get popcorn.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to 2021. This is probably a good place to look forward. I think it's going to be a slow transition to back to normal. I don't think it'll ever get back to normal.
It'll never be normal.
Yeah.
This was what they always call. I hate that terminology, but it's used
like a game changer.
No, it's like industry buster or something.
Yeah.
There's like a word for it.
Well, it has been a really disruptive.
Just bust everything. It's like
yeah. Well, it's very likely that we're going to get more of these just because of the way the world works. I mean, we're globalized. We have transportation that spans the globe. Our climate's changing, so we're going to have more shit like this happen. I don't know. I mean, I in a very weird way, I had a good 2020. Like I had a lot of positive things happen from it, but man, it was a weird way to have those positive things happen.
I will not say what 2020 was for me.
Yeah,
because I don't like talking about my
sure.
And I don't like talking about my business or anything.
Yeah, I'm not talking about money wise. I'm talking about
my dad would be like, "So how's things going?" I said, "Don't ever ask about my business, Dad."
I'm not talking about like money wise. I'm just talking.
No, I'm not talking about money or like success or like everything going on. I'm just saying I don't like talking about it because I just like there's been people who had such horrible years.
Yeah, sure.
And I can't say that 2020 was the worst year for me. There's been some scary moments and stuff like that. But overall, for me, yeah, I can't say this year was it was bad in that like I can't do the things I want to do. There was a lot of things I was supposed to do this year. It was supposed to be a very active year for me. I was supposed to do a lot of traveling, a lot of shows outside of state. I had them all planned out. I was paid for. I was supposed to go to lots of awesome concerts. I remember last Christmas, about my son, we got tickets. Was basically going to see all these bands and everything.
Yeah.
That happened. All was gone. I don't think it's ever going to happen again, at least not those.
I had a ton of great shows lined up to see.
A lot of stuff that just, and again, it's like, but I don't want to like, there's people's lives were completely destroyed.
Right.
Financially, family, they lost their loved ones. They might be not with us anymore. Like there's all kinds of like, and it's so fucked up because there's still such a large segment of the population that just don't care. They don't think about it. They don't respect it in any way.
Right.
They acknowledge it. They don't think it's real. I think some of them, I don't even think it's politics. I think just when people just don't pay attention.
Some people are like, they're not mean-spirited about it. They're just ignorant, you know.
Which is crazy because it's like, you're like, how can you ignore all this?
Yeah.
Like, there's people who are just really aloof out there.
Yeah.
I just can't say, like, it's just been a weird year for me. I don't like, it's been like a little secluded, but not, which kind of sucks. But it's like weird too. Like we both work from home already to begin with, so it's always we said it like it wasn't like the biggest deal. Like for you guys, you don't have to. I'm sure that was like definitely.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of great advantages. There's a lot of disadvantages too, but like honestly, like for me, like
you gained more time.
It changed my life dramatically for the better. You know, like it slowed things down. It kind of reframed things. I gained a lot more time. Um, there's some real advantages there. Uh, you would never want it to come about this way, but like it also put things in big perspective for me, about how interconnected the world is and how like fragile things are, and like it really made you stop and consider shit, like even the smallest details of your life, like, well, why am I doing this? What am I doing here? What do I need to do it this way? It was a very good exercise in being mindful about, like, well, what do I do when I go to the store? Why am I touching this stuff? Why do we eat like this? I mean, it was a really kind of interesting process. So
Now, I don't know if I probably ate worse. But like it's just such a weird year, and it's like I just want 2020 to be over with, but then it's like who cares, because the next day's just another day, and
yeah,
we're not going to change. We're not going to have the vaccine for like
nope.
I mean, I'm being hopeful on this, that I think we're going to get it earlier than they're making it out to be.
Could be,
But
I hope.
the question is, how effective is it? And we
Right.
won't know. Actually, the funny thing is, we won't know how truly effective it is for
Oh yeah,
probably till the spring.
yeah,
Um,
easily.
and then we're gonna have a new president. We're gonna have like the psyche will change just a bit, but it won't. It's gonna be weird. It's like I was supposed to the place I was supposed to do these shows with. They're planning on doing it next year, but I'm really like 99% sure I'm just gonna cancel and get my money back, because I'm not. I've seen there's been shows, there's some states that allow it, and I see people do it. I don't want to sit behind a desk or a table with my
Sounds
shit
brutal.
up with a fucking mask on all day, and then have to deal with assholes who come to my table who like don't wear it properly. It's like I already hated doing it where I had people like trying to take pictures of my stuff, and now I got to deal with assholes that are gonna like come to my table who don't wear their mask properly, and then they're gonna fight with me when I tell them like, hey, can you like pull it up or something? They'll be like, some will be like cool, because most people
Sure.
are.
A lot of people are.
Always get that. It's always the one or two that just will ruin the entire day. And I just don't want to deal with that. It's another thing. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to travel during this. Like I see people going on vacations this year, and I think it's the most bizarre thing to do. Why would you unless you have like a lake, a cabin on the lake?
Sure. Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's cool. That makes sense. If I had a cabin on a lake in another state, yeah, I would go to that. That's a thing that makes sense. But I would never. I see people who went away, that go away and say, I'm like, why this? Like, take a vacation from the vacation. Like, I know that sounds so stupid. That's like such a corny thing to say, but like, I find that so bizarre. I would not.
Yeah.
Like, did you go away anywhere?
No.
Like, it's such a. I know people who went away that went on planes, that traveled, and I'm just like.
We had briefly entertained the idea of doing something for Thanksgiving, and then we didn't. So it just didn't make sense. It seemed like the risk is too high.
Yeah, because like even if you're like doing things and everything, you can if you're in your own area, you can like control it a bit. You have like your bubbles and stuff you make. But yeah, like the minute you leave, it's like you basically are now at the risk of like everyone else in a different. I don't know. I just find it really weird. Like when people went to like Disney World, and I was like, really? This is the year you want to go to Disney World? Really?
Yeah.
Like why? This doesn't even seem like it would be enjoyable.
Right. It'd just be a nerve-wracking experience.
Because the whole point of like Disney World is to escape. And you go to Disney World, and they're like, well, you're going to wear a mask the whole time and you can't touch anything. It'd be like, I'm not really escaping anything.
Yeah.
Unless they try to make it like, well, it's like you're on the planet of Avatar where you can't breathe the air, you're on
right.
It's the Disney World has turned into the big giant worm inside of the moon, that crater that Han Solo flew in. There's Minox everywhere. I didn't understand that. That blew my mind. It's one thing when I like see like, and it's like it's not a thing you have to do. It's not like necessary. Now, like I could see road trips making sense. Like,
sure.
You just want to drive to a thing, and again, it's like you got a cabin lake, or you're renting a spot, and you're not dealing with people. It's like a vacation of solitude of some sort, you know.
That makes sense, but like
the idea of like going to a city or like a resort, or I'm just like blown away by that. And then again, some people, they don't give a fuck. And then you find it's so weird because you find out these people either get COVID or they don't. It's so weird. It's so weird. I don't know. I like my fear of getting it was just that like it's like it is like playing Russian roulette. I've gotten sick before. I've gotten the flu. I've gotten really bad bronchitis. But like this is not something I want to like.
No, it's different.
Play with. Like I don't want to like gamble with this. This is I don't know. You know, it's been, you know, this year started out very strange to begin with. Like there was those horrible fires in Australia.
Yeah.
You remember those?
I do, yeah. Those like apocalyptic, sure.
Yeah, like really bad. Like I knew an artist that lives there. He was talking about basically it's like the beach that they escaped to avoid the fire then started to go on fire.
Right, yeah.
You know, it was like you had no place to go. And also those poor koalas.
Right.
We call them drop bears. And then like shortly around that time, then like Trump almost starts World War III, which everyone kind of forgets that one. And then he was impeached.
Yep.
Was interesting.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I saw an article, I think it was on slate.com today, where it was like the most embarrassing moments of the Trump presidency 2020. And the thing was like fucking 20 pages long. It was like
the entire year. I mean, like I said, his whole presidency was horrible, but like 2020, if he somehow won, that would be like, my God, the rot in this country is, or we just don't really have democracy. Like the fact that democracy works because Trump lost.
Right. Yeah. That's how you know.
That's how you know. Like the worst person who handled the worst thing possible and made it even worse lost. That's refreshing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it should be. I mean,
and so then we find out the COVID outbreak, and not just on top of the COVID outbreak, but the fact that like all these things, you couldn't get all these things. Couldn't get toilet paper.
Right.
Couldn't get basic things for weeks. It was like so stressful. It's like, okay, now we're going into shutdown. Your kids aren't going back to school. People are getting fired left and right. And you can't get toilet paper. You can't get masks anywhere. You can't get rubber gloves. You can't get anything that like can kind of protect you from this virus.
Yeah.
And you just see like scumbags hoarding things on the internet, getting caught. And then on top of it, here's the fucked up part. I guarantee you, anybody that those guys who hoarded it, the cops or something would show up. They probably had to destroy most of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like the minute it's out of an area, it's considered like, well,
not good anymore.
Yeah, which is super fucked up because most of it is.
Yeah.
And then on top of all that, you had the George Floyd thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was like hell in this country for a very long time. I mean, and it's like you had COVID already and you had all these deaths, and then this happens and it wasn't even just like, okay, this was another guy another black dude getting killed by a cop. We've seen this, and that it's the same thing over and over. It's the same argument online. It was so much worse.
It was crazy.
You saw the cops like going insane on the people, reporters getting their eyes shot out, innocent people getting just people who were not even part of protests getting shot in the face with like rubber bullets and having like it's insane that happened the same year.
It did feel like things were spiraling out of control. I think, I mean, like people like me and you and clearly about 80 million other people kind of like held our breaths when we cast our vote for Biden Harris. And when he won, it was like this big kind of moment, you know, like this, oh, I can breathe again moment. Because it was,
but you kind of still can't. You're still on edge. Like we know he's going to get in.
Yeah.
Like, you still have this fucking monster who exasperated the George Floyd thing. He
right.
tweeted basically telling the cops to go kill people. I mean, like, I'm sorry, that's kind of refreshing. We're not going to have a guy like that in power anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. I don't know.
Good thing.
Call me a neo-lib. I think it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year's been fucking weird.
It has.
You know, I don't want, like I said, I'm not gonna talk about like the personal stuff and everything. It's just very strange year. I part of me like I want to get out of here. Like I want to like go do something. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
But at the same time, I'm like so turned off for some people, especially like in our area, who don't give a fuck.
Well, I agree, but it's like that all throughout the country. I mean, like I see,
it's not just us. It's not just here.
I mean, I see all across the world, but like in every state in America, there's pockets of people that are terrible about this.
I heard like LA is absolutely horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, like because I don't want to go into too much of where we live or whatever, but like there are times when it seems like, oh, this is a pretty conservative area, and there are other times where it seems like, oh, it's kind of a liberalish area in some ways. But this mask thing, the coronavirus thing, I mean, it's just kind of cut across every location I've seen. Some places are obviously worse than others. But
the mask thing is the most insane thing I ever.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm like, we had the worst person in power. All he had to do in March was say wear a mask, and he refused to do it. And by doing that, he caused all the problems. I mean, like, would everyone be wearing a mask if Trump said wear a mask? No,
but a lot more would.
A lot more would,
yep.
And there'd be a lot less dead people, and the virus wouldn't be as rapid, not vapid.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, it's all vapid.
And that too.
It's all bad. Like it just doesn't care about anything. I mean, I guess it doesn't. The people who won't refuse to wear a mask, I would say, are vapid. But
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? This is probably our longest one.
It's probably our longest one this year. We're at least at 2.5 hours, probably a little more.
Well, this was an epic journey that we took. We went from talking about Wonder Woman 84, and I think it's only fair that we and then we talked about other movies.
Yeah.
And then Louie Gohmert. Everyone's favorite, Wonder Woman 84 and Louie Gohmert.
Yep. Two great tastes that go great together.
It's the two things that pop up in your head automatically. Yeah. If you're insane, there's something wrong with you. Louie Gohmert should never.
Oh.
No one should know who that man is.
No.
Is he mentally like?
He's not all there. He's not
like.
All
is
there.
He like, considered like?
I don't know. That's a good question because I've seen him talk and I've wondered, but I think he's average.
It's all like an act, and like 90% of these dudes are all like Harvard graduates, and like they're all like, Louie Gohmert's done talking like a catfish wrangler. And all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, where's the Grey Poupon?"
Yeah, I don't think Louie Gohmert is of that persuasion.
No, you think he is just like a catfish wrangler?
Yeah, I think he may be catfish wrangler. Actually, let me see. He is an attorney, so he went to school somewhere.
I'm just a silly Southern lawyer.
He went to Baylor.
Where's that?
That's here. That's in Texas. That's in Waco, Texas.
But is that considered like a decent school?
It's a good school. Yeah, it's like a upper tier school.
Let you pass with C's and D's.
All right. Well,
I would always say, CD's nuts. That was what Louie Gohmert would say.
We will be back in 2021.
Yeah.
Topic to be determined.
Yeah, we'll probably do the news and stuff. The news, the YSGOAT.
Yeah.
Just working on our credentials, you know.
We'll start with that. We got there's some film stuff coming up that might be interesting to look at.
Yeah. And you know, who knows? Maybe we'll get invaded by aliens finally.
Yeah. There we go.
That would definitely change things up a little.
Yeah, for sure.
The aliens die of COVID.
Yeah, it'd just be like the end of War of the Worlds.
Yeah, wasn't that like they got out of their ship and they were like, "Oh crap, we traveled."
They were killed by the common cold. Yeah.
We traveled light years. We had the technology that we never considered the fact that there would be organisms all over, like bacteria all over the planet.
Who knew?
Is that considered bad writing?
Well, that was from like a million years ago.
1800s that was written.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. So I'll give them a little leeway, but
they probably were like, "This is so scientific."
Yeah, that was probably like cutting edge at the time.
Like, oh, there's bacteria. You know, there was people probably like, "What?"
Yeah,
he was still arguing about like gravity. We still are. All right. Well, on that note, and a happy New Year to everyone.
Yeah, happy New Year.
Hope for everyone stay safe. Be good to each other.
Yes.
Don't be a Louie Gohmert. It's like a Mr. Bungle. Don't be like Mr.
Right.
Don't be a Dan Patrick.
Yeah.
You can be better. Don't be a Marco Rubio.
Be best. That's how I'm gonna put it.
Be best.
Be bester.
Be bester. The bestest.
Be the bestest.
Hey, there's one silver lining.
Yeah.
Next year.
Which is?
I think the first week of the year, Cobra Kai season 3 comes out.
Oh yeah, that is true. That'll be good.
So sad. But it isn't. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, cool. Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.